Everybody clear their throats as professional broadcasters, because I have recorded. I got a when I was working at the radio station in Arizona, I got a note from the boss. Don't clear your throat in the air so much. Apparently I did. I thought that was a thing. It was a bit.
Clearing your throat on the air.
Yeah. I'm going to become a professional broadcaster now. I'm going to clear my throat. What is,
yes.
You got a bug catcher there on the side of the.
It's a microphone.
It's not the microphone you're talking. What kind of, is that like a ribbon?
It's fake.
Is it an award you got?
It's a decoration. It's fake.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I'll put it away. I had big plans.
You know, we're recording now. And by the way, I wanted to mention that based on the last program, we set a high bar. So we're going to have to work hard.
What does that mean? We had like one view. So I had big plans.
Oh, no, we didn't get anybody. We didn't get anybody watching. It's just we set a high bar in terms of program quality.
Well, my wife and son and daughter all watched it.
Yeah, and Dale gave us a great review.
Yeah, we got a good review.
In depth.
So I was going to set up this whole background here.
Mm-hmm.
Over here.
Behind my head.
And yeah. And
Jay. Oh.
But then
the audio audience is going, what the heck are they doing?
I know. In moving stuff, I threw my back out, and then I took the trash out, and the trash man came, so I can't get my back. And so
that is a dad joke.
I know.
And
so I'm a dad. I'm a dad. So yesterday I was just totally in pain, and I couldn't do anything. So I'm woefully unprepared for this, but you know, it is what it is. Life happens.
Okay. So I've prepared a bunch of elements for the show. Well, you basically did nothing all week.
Yeah, except my back was out. I was trying to do stuff.
Are you one of those people that wears your headphones on one ear?
Yeah, I do.
Kyra's doll style.
I'm trying to make you loud enough here.
I can speak a little louder.
No, that's okay.
I'll do the Garrett Morris.
I'll just turn it up. There we go. Okay.
I think I still did. I adjusted your picture a lot, but I think I still did give you a tan. Compared to me, I look sallow.
I have a tan. Oh, no.
So I did a lot of work. I prepared a web page for us.
Yes, you did.
I adjusted your
thank you very much for the still shot of me.
You like that?
Appreciate that. Yeah. Appreciate that.
Yeah. It's we actually sat during the show and did a looking into the camera and just giving a pleasant face or something. And I said, oh, that's boring. And I found this shot. Again, for the folks that are on the audio audience, it's what you see on the website. And the website, by the way, is piercebrothers.com. It's a lot of typing. Pierce Brothers Podcasting.
I always thought it would be fun to be Dorothy and marry somebody's last name was com, and then you would be .com. Whatever.
Yeah, that would be funny. That's another dad joke. That's two.
I have a lot of them. Just ask my kids.
Yeah. You folks looking on from the viewing audience on YouTube, does it look like we're in the same room now? Even a little bit?
It kind of does.
Kind of.
To me.
Yeah, kind of almost does. I think I got to clean up my chroma key a little bit. But
chroma key.
Yes, we got the weather. Oops. I also disappear.
Yeah.
I also disappear halfway through the frame.
I worked in television before chroma key. And then we got Matt Key.
Mm-hmm.
And then chroma key came, but I was...
Matt Key, that was one of your radio names, wasn't it?
Matt Key, yes. It was Matt Key.
Cape Girardeau?
Matt Key in the morning. Classic hits all day. 100.7 KGMO, the Rock of Missouri.
You break me up. Did their signal get into the St. Louis market?
No, just shy.
Okay.
It might now. When I was there, it was only like 28,000 watts. Now it's 100,000.
That's not a lot, really. That's not a big difference. Not big.
Yeah, you can hear it in Carbondale now. When I was living in Carbondale, but working in Cape Girardeau, and you couldn't really hear the station at home. But that's not the first station like that. I mean, I worked at some AM stations that at night the signal went down so low in power, I couldn't hear it at home.
You couldn't. But I thought you couldn't hear it at the studio.
You could sort of. Yeah. Actually, we had the really low power, and it was on the same frequency as a Mexican border blaster. This was in Texas, and the air monitor for the station in the studio, the transmitter was actually in the studio, and there was a little transistor radio nailed up on the wall next to the transmitter. That was our air monitor. So you knew you were on the air. And so in the morning when you'd sign on, you couldn't hear our station. You heard the Mexican station.
Was this KTER?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. Oh, that was your let me see if I'm pronouncing that right. Your nadir.
That was
your low point. In broadcasting. Your broadcasting.
Yes, I was exiled to Texas for 6 months.
Okay, so there's the website, and there's also a YouTube channel, which is not called Pierce Brothers Podcasting. It is called The Jay and Gary Show, because that's what this is, The Jay and Gary Show.
And I'm Jay.
And I'm Gary, but we can't do that yet because I have yet more. But wait, there's more. You want to start a show?
Sure.
I got the way to start the show. Let's see.
You got theme music?
Which way do I want to do this? From the studio in the bonus room above the garage on the north side of Fort Mill, South Carolina, in the shadow of Charlotte, the buckle of the Bible Belt, and the foot of Mount Belzoni, I'm Gary Pierce.
And I'm Jay Pierce.
No, you got to say a little more than that.
Oh, and I'm in the attic of our house in Champaign, Illinois, in the beautiful Rolling Acres subdivision.
Something about, you need to include something about HAL 9000.
HAL 9000. Hey, tell you a funny story about that. When they had the HAL convention at the University of Illinois back in, well, it must have been on some it was in 1995. And the university where the Netscape Navigator was invented, Mozilla, all this stuff, had no streaming ability. So my little radio station streamed their conference for them. I thought that was pretty cool.
That was what year?
1995.
Yeah, pretty early for the internet.
Yeah, but we streamed it.
Early internet. Well, people don't understand what the reference is to HAL 9000 because Cindy, my wife, who knew what HAL 9000 was, and it took me a moment because my brain was ejecting vocabulary. It took me a moment to come up with the name of the movie, the 2001 Space Odyssey.
Yes, which
is where the HAL 9000 comes from. But what she did not realize is it was invented, I'm doing the scare quotes, in the University of Illinois in Champaign.
Yes.
Your former employer.
A lot of things were invented there. Yeah, hold on. My former employer. Wait, the light's shining out. There we go.
I've got a mug.
There we go.
At some point, I'll let you monologue for a minute. I'll run downstairs and grab a mug from your past.
Oh, that would be cool.
Probably don't remember that I have.
So here I am drinking coffee out of the morning edition mug in memory of Bob Edwards.
Yeah, we need to talk about that a little
Saturday nights. Yeah.
We have a theme for today's show. That's the title of today's show is No Static at All.
No static at all.
FM.
No static at all.
Because in theory, this show will be us telling our radio station history, our origin stories.
How we got into radio.
Yeah.
Why we got into radio.
Yeah. And why no one else ever should again. Okay.
I have a lot of radio station paraphernalia here. Very little audio, but a lot of little things.
Yeah. But you do have a little bit of audio, right? Okay. So
maybe a little.
The Bob
and
Edwards.
This is, what is this? WCBU. Currently
that's
do stuff.
The station you're currently not on every day, but you're on when their morning edition.
When somebody goes on vacation. Yeah.
Yeah. And you do that from right where you are now.
Yeah, I do that from right here. And I could be really official and wear my NPR badge.
They let you keep your badge as a board
member? Yeah, well, they deactivate it. This is what got you in the building. So I used to be able to get in the NPR building, which was really cool, the mothership.
Just to walk in.
Yeah, I could just walk in anytime. Just go up to there and go.
In Washington, D.C. And probably any of their other offices in New York and
no,
LA.
This just worked in Washington. But, well, yeah, I mean, I could show it and get in. But this that
would open the door.
In, so I could, this opened the door. It was a key card and my ID. You had to wear it when you were in there. But, so I could hang out with all the cool people. Nina Totenberg.
Just drop in their office. Hi, guys. Jay Pierce here.
Sure.
Who let him in the building? Did you get to see the Tiny Desk?
Oh yeah, I saw numerous Tiny Desk concerts. Yeah.
Oh, you were there for concerts?
Yeah.
Ah, awesome.
Yeah, I got to see. But can I tell you who they were? No.
Yeah.
But
because you didn't recognize who they were. So they must have been doing a lot because you didn't spend a lot of time there.
I was there 4 times a year for almost a week each time.
So you spent a month there.
Over 6 years.
Yeah.
So.
And probably the Tiny Desk was the concert. What they were having one while you were there was something everybody went to.
Yeah. All work would stop at NPR and everybody would go up to, I can't remember. It was on the 3rd floor. I don't know. But everybody would go up there and then watch the Tiny Desk concert, which is actually at a desk. And then, So
did you meet the producer?
Bob Boylan? Yeah.
Because the what was it? The Sundays the Up First, was it Up First or was it a special?
First is a podcast.
I forget.
A news podcast.
Yeah, it was one of the NPR podcasts. They interviewed the Tiny Desk guy.
Oh, okay.
And talked a lot about it. I listened to that. It's recent, in the past week or so. And I stumbled across Tiny Desk because they put them all on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I stumbled across them and thought, this is pretty awesome. There's a lot of music on the Tiny Desk that is not my favorite music. But the folks that I liked, it was amazing. And they did a great job acoustically of just setting up some, the microphones and whatever. And
yeah, they did. And primarily
good.
When they started it, they just did it with one shotgun mic sitting on the desk pointing at the band.
Yeah. And they figured out they needed to do better.
Yeah, they did. The best one was Margot Price. She was the best one. I wish I could have seen that.
The best artist?
Yeah. We have connections.
Yeah. I do not know who that is.
To Margot Price and what?
Sorry.
Oh, God. I got to school you. And Susie Boggess. So this could be another one. Another show, another topic. So connections.
Margot
Price.
Hottest thing going in Americana and country music today.
I'll pick up her Tiny Desk.
From Buffalo Prairie, Illinois.
This content contains explicit language. Are we going to get a takedown?
I don't know, probably.
I woke up from a movie. I immediately
That's her, right?
Yeah.
Got the right thing.
Got a heartache on the bottom
And you know her?
Almost.
Oh, by the way, I want you to push your button that says optimized audio or something like that. It should be on your Zoom screen.
Optimized audio.
Well, everywhere I go, somebody puts me in.
Should be at the upper left of your Zoom screen. There should be a button that says optimized audio or something like that. I could listen to her all day.
But I don't need 10 million, baby.
Well, I hope they don't take us down. If you got any pull with those folks, tell them not to take us down. I've been fighting battles like that for a long time.
Yeah, I know you. You're such a rebel. I don't know where optimized audio is. There's
Are you
nothing
looking at your Zoom screen? You might have to go into your settings. We should have done this
Customs.
before. It might be custom audio. Who knows what it says? For mine, it says live performance audio on. It gets rid of all the Zoom stuff so that when you play audio, it sounds better.
Oh, okay. Select a microphone, select a speaker, test, leave computer audio settings.
By the way, that's how Yellow Jay is before I fixed his pictures.
Zoom background noise control removal.
Yeah, all that stuff. Turn it off.
Turn off that. Background noise suppression.
Turn it off. Turn it off. We'll do it live. Turn it off.
Well, it won't go off.
Oh, well, okay.
Wait.
Are we meeting the high bar we set on the last program?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, so
original sound for musicians.
Yeah, that's it. That's what you want. Original sound.
Echo cancellation, stereo, high fidelity music.
Oh, one thing it apparently did is
audio.
it turned your audio way down. I can turn you up.
How is that? Is that okay?
Yeah, turn yourself up. Take your volume level and turn it up.
It is all the way up.
It's all the way up. That shouldn't be.
It is. It's all the way up.
Okay.
See, you made me push buttons, and now we're screwed up.
Okay, make it go back to automatic volume. We'll let Zoom do that. They'll turn.
Okay, how's that? Is that doing okay?
Yes, that's
that better?
much better.
Okay. Well, I'm going to quit pushing buttons because it gets me in trouble.
Yeah, you were saying what I've determined is that we should not ever have a conversation that is not recorded because we don't have normal human conversations.
Well, it's because we go years without talking to each other.
But what we do is we do shows.
I think we actually went 20 years one time without talking to each other.
It may until Facebook came around. We were like we're estranged.
We were for a long time.
Yeah.
Strange and estranged.
That's what I was going to say. All right. So you got to see the Tiny Desk concerts.
Yeah.
That was cool. When I was freelancing briefly at NPR station WUNC.
Working for my good late friend, Connie Walker.
Actually, she was the program director or the station manager just as I was leaving.
Yeah.
There's somebody else who was there before her, whose name I don't really remember.
I don't remember either, but we were on the NPR board together.
Yeah. If I don't know that I ever met her. I was in on one meeting at one. I mean, I was a freelancer, so I wasn't, staff. But I freelance engineered. They would never put me on the air. They didn't know. They didn't know what they were missing. I freelance engineered their.
Maybe they did know.
That's also very possible. We'll find out in a minute when we play an air check from back in the day. I freelanced. I freelanced for People's Pharmacy for a year or more.
Yeah.
And
we ran that on WILL.
Yes, because I told you about it.
Yeah, and they still run it.
I gained them a station.
Yes, you did.
They were very happy with me.
I was proud to help you out.
Yeah, it was nice of you. I engineered another show there. And the whole reason I even started at the station at all as a freelancer was one year during, I think, the ACC tournament Every
Yeah.
freelance audio engineer in the Triangle and Greater Carolinas area was scarfed up doing basketball tournaments, except me, because I apparently didn't know anything about doing that. And so they asked around, and somebody said, well, Gary Pierce works freelances right across the mall at this ad agency, the McKinney ad agency, which is, we were in a, like a little mall area. And I was there almost every day, making commercials and stuff for McKinney. and they said, he's pretty good. He's pretty good.
He's pretty good.
And, he knows radio. So I got a call from their chief engineer. And of course, their chief engineer was a ham, and I'm a ham. Ham radio, I know, just stop.
Amateur radio.
Yeah. And so we hit it off right away.
This is professional radio.
Yeah.
You were amateur radio.
Yeah, I'm both. I straddle the line. So we hit it off real well. And what they needed was somebody to do for 2 weeks to do a midday show, a midday local talk show. During the rest of the day, they were what many NPR stations are now, which is just a network pipe. And a long time ago, they made the transition from NPR in the morning and classical music all day to the NPR talk shows all day. NPR, and as we discussed in the last program, a half a dozen other networks that all sound the same, but different corporate ownerships. PR, Public Radio International, American Public Media, Public Radio International, Public Radio
Exchange,
Public Radio National, Public Radio Local.
There used to be American Public Media too.
They changed their name to that was the Prairie Home Companion.
Right? Yes, that was not an NPR show.
Yeah, from Minnesota Public Radio. I seen that show twice live.
Have you really?
Yep, in St. Paul. Back when
there's Margot Price. That's as close as I've gotten to her.
Okay, she wasn't there when you saw a Tiny Desk concert.
No.
What I was going with this was on Fridays on this talk show that I was engineering, they would bring in a local band and set up in the studio. We essentially did a Tiny Desk concert before there was a Tiny Desk. When did Tiny Desk concerts begin?
Well, that's a good question.
Because I'm talking about 2007. May have been before there were Tiny Desk concerts. We may have started the trend.
It could have been.
Anyway.
Well, you talk. I'll look it up.
Okay. I set up microphones and stuff to record. Usually there'd be a singer, maybe two. What are we looking at here?
I got that close to Willie Nelson. Well, actually, I was closer, but I was on stage.
You were in his bus smoking dope.
I wasn't
supposed to say that.
No, I wasn't. He was. I was on stage too. He took us up on stage to watch his set. Cool. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm getting it. Nope. So Tiny Desk. I was going to look up when they started.
Yeah, we need to know.
You might have started it. Okay.
So, as accomplished as I was with audio engineering, it was mostly editing and not that much recording. I knew how to set up a mic in front of somebody to talk. So I was figuring out what to do to record violins, guitars. They didn't have a piano, but they would bring in an electronic piano. And we had no ability to make an electronic connection to any of these devices. That they had no breakout boxes or anything in the studio. Nobody wired for recording a band. So I set microphones in front of them and had a little auxiliary mixer, and it all sounded pretty good. But what I learned on the very first one was that when somebody starts singing, they're a whole lot louder than when they're talking. So I learned after that first one, all my meters went to the peg, that as they were having their conversation before they started singing, I'd set levels for that. And then I had to grab everything and pull it down. Well, mostly the mic they were singing into. and pull it down. Because before the show, we would do an audio check, but I learned my lesson. Anyway, I've been really impressed with how good the acoustics at Tiny Desk have been. Did a good job.
Yeah. So it started in 2008.
I started it. I started the
You
trend
did.
from
You did. You
WUNC.
started it.
Somebody was listening to WUNC and said, "Whoa, we got to do more of that at the mothership."
I'm trying to see if I can figure out who I would have seen, but I can't remember exactly what dates the NPR board meetings were. They were in like November, I think September, November, February, and May, something like that.
Yeah, they have quite a genre. Although when I was listening to that program, I think that it took them a while until they could do some hip hop.
Yeah, probably.
They didn't do that right away.
Yeah.
And then they did, and they found out they could. And it became something that they did a lot.
So we have recognize this.
It's a little too blown out.
Darn it.
Hold it. Your camera will darken up if you hold it up there. There you go. Well, it's a radio station. It's a guy.
You used to work at that radio station, and I'm segueing into.
I need to see that picture better. I didn't work at that many radio stations. Oh, is that Ed Allen or Eddie Allen?
Yeah. Look at that microphone.
Yeah. What were you doing up there?
I wasn't.
You're pulling stuff off their website.
Yeah. Or somewhere. It's just images. But I think they're still in that building. Isn't that the building you worked in?
Yeah, it looks familiar. It's a long time ago, 1969.
I don't know. Okay, so you want to morph into that?
I've got audio from that.
Because we're supposed to be talking about...
yeah, but we need to talk about Bob Edwards
radio,
first because we're doing NPR.
About what?
Bob Edwards.
Oh, yeah.
He died this week. Not that much older than me.
No, I know, and I thought about that. Bob was, he had cancer surgery last October. It was fairly major. And then
for the few people in the audience who don't know who he was,
he was one of the early people at NPR, not an original, but he hosted All Things Considered in the early 70s. And was part of the reason I got into radio. We'll go into that. But anyway, then when All Things Considered began, when did it start? 82 or so? Something like that. He was the first host of Morning Edition. And he was the quintessential host of Morning Edition that most people woke up to for over 20 years. And then he went on to work. He had a show on XM or Sirius, one of those channels, satellite.
Well, yeah, Sirius, but they're the same. Sirius XM.
And then he did one for, I think it was PRI, Public Radio International.
He did
Bob Edwards Weekends.
AARP.
And then finally AARP, yeah, he did that. But so anyway, he went into hospice, I think it was Thursday or Friday of last week, and then we got the note from his widow, Windsor Johnston. If you listen to NPR News, you'll hear her anchoring and reporting, and that he had passed away Saturday night. So apparently things took a turn. But yeah, so Bob was 75, and he was just a cool guy. Just cool. He was a great journalist, a stickler, attention for detail. Everybody wants to talk about why NPR let him go.
76. He was 76.
He was 76, yeah. Well, his birthday was recently. So NPR sort of let him go and sort of didn't. They kind of agreed. They wanted to shift him over to being a special correspondent who would do in-depth work, kind of like Susan Stamberg still does. Some stuff. But I think the problem was he didn't want to do that. NPR was in a phase where they wanted to do more live stuff. They wanted to be more reactive to breaking news. Bob was more of a, we got to record the interview and edit it so it's perfect type of guy. Very measured, very paced. Nothing wrong with that, but NPR just wanted to be more live. And thus you hear live from NPR News now at the top of the hour. But it's all a thing to be more reactive. Now, I mean, we can talk about the pros and cons of that. I think some of the interviews could just be recorded and edited because sometimes they run out of time and cut people off and it doesn't sound good. On the replay, you'll notice.
We can give some people some inside baseball broadcasting.
Yeah,
when you're doing a live interview, very different from a recorded interview because, of course, you can't edit it.
Right, and the whole show is mapped out, so you only have that 4.5 minutes to do that interview.
Yeah.
And
the host becomes the editor in real time by doing something that drives some people crazy.
Yeah.
We call it interrupting.
Right. And
it sounds like this.
And the other thing is that sometimes you don't get to the good stuff until right at the end, and then you're done. Whereas if you keep going, then you can edit that in. You'll notice that on the replays, like Morning Edition's a 2-hour show. So it airs live most markets from like 5 to 7 a.m. the first run, and then 7 to 9 would just be a replay of those 2 hours with updated newscasts, updated content if breaking news warrants. Sometimes they'll shift stuff around.
Oh,
but
wait a minute. Did you say breaking news?
Yeah.
You know what I've got here? I've got a soundboard.
Oh, God. So anyway, so they'll edit it then, and then you'll hear you don't hear the same, I got to cut you off, we got to go.
So somebody's working fast.
Give me a synopsis of War and Peace, and we have 20 seconds. Yep. So anyway, that's but Bob, Bob's interviews, Bob's conversations with Red Barber, Bob did so much. Bob was, he and Carl Castle were for, a couple of decades more, it. And when
people remember Carl Castle now from when he was on Wait, Don't Tell Me.
Well, that too.
He did that for years after he retired from doing the
newscast.
For the main NPR.
So
Wait, Don't Tell Me, an actual NPR show.
Yeah, it is. That's right. Another one coming out of WBEZ in Chicago, like This American Life did. So anyway, where was I? Oh, yeah. So here's an interesting Bob Edwards trivia thing. He was a newscaster on Mutual Radio Network, the old Mutual Radio Network, before he was on NPR.
He was second paid radio station job at Mutual News.
Was it really?
Yep, on on one of those cheap lines. So they sounded like this.
I know.
Yeah, they sounded like this, and they did things no other network did. The anchors of the upcoming newscast would, very much like this show, would have their mics open, and they were chatting before the newscast, and I would listen to them in queue and enjoy listening to them chat before the newscast. And I was playing a commercial or something, so I could be listening to them. And one time I remember they were getting real close to the airtime, and one guy cut the other way off. Said, "Quiet, we're going to get on somebody's air. Somebody's going to pot us up early, 10 seconds early, and catch us just chit chat. We're having a great time, but we're going to get on somebody's air."
Wow. I was on the Mutual Network. I was on there one time on the what did they call it? The wide weekend of sports? On the Mutual Broadcasting System. No. So I was on covering the Ambletonian trotting race that used to be held in DuQuoin, Illinois at the fairgrounds. And
Hambletonian or Ambletonian?
Hambletonian.
Because Hambletonian would be
It's in
a bunch of 40-year-old horses just walking around.
Yeah, right. With walkers. So it's in the Meadowlands now. It moved. But so I covered it for Mutual Radio Sports back in the mid 70s. And I say I have a tape somewhere of it, but I need a
Playback
reel-to-reel
device.
player to get some of this good stuff. And I'll do that. I'll get to that. I threw my back out yesterday, so I didn't get stuff prepared. I'm sorry. I have a couple of things, but it was not good. So how did we get into radio? I said Bob Edwards. I guess, I was interested in radio because you and Andy were involved in broadcasting. I had a radio station at our neighbor's house, Bruce Lauder, and he and I had a radio station, a transmitter.
Hello, Bruce.
Bedroom,
wherever you are.
Texas, Colleyville, Texas. That
Are
Andy
you still
built
in touch?
No, but I was with his sister, Sarah. Remember Sarah?
Yes.
She passed away a couple of years ago.
Oh,
but
I didn't know that.
yeah, we actually found out that we both lived in the Quad Cities.
Huh.
So we got back together.
Yeah, I think I'm a Facebook friend with the other sister, Cynthia.
Cindy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I am too.
Cindy asked.
Huh?
I'll embarrass her. I won't embarrass. Well, maybe I'll embarrass her a little bit. Embarrass me even more. Cindy one time asked me to go to a prom or a dance or something like that.
Oh.
And I did not know what to do with girls.
Oh.
I was mid-teens, 15 or so, and I didn't even answer her. It's like, I'm sorry, I apologize. I was, total weenie.
You weenie.
Yeah, I should have.
15,
gone, but it was a good time.
I already had a couple of girlfriends by then.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's see.
Way ahead of me.
We're
getting into radio. Bruce Lauder, radio station at his house.
Oh yeah, so Andy built this little night kit transmitter, and Bruce and I went to the thrift shop in Winnetka and bought a turntable, a record player, and we had a microphone somehow.
Children,
I don't know where.
records are. I've got a couple. I've got like 100 of them right behind me back.
Yeah, I got some in a box, but my back hurts. I can't get it.
They're made of plastic. You put them on this thing that goes around and around, and you put something on it called a needle that picks up vibrations that are actually physically embedded into this plastic.
You might have heard the song, "Put the Needle on the Record, Pump Up the Volume."
Yeah.
So that's what that is. So
you'll still have a few hip hop DJs at the clubs will play actual records.
Well, vinyl's coming back. It's making a big comeback. Yeah. But so we had so WBDJ radio, and he put and now you'll help me with this, a ground plane antenna outside his bedroom window, and we went about 2 blocks. That thing. WBDJ, awesome. Bruce Douglas J. And we would play records.
Who's the Douglas?
That was Bruce's middle name. He got 2 names. Yeah, he did.
And you get one.
He was cooler than me.
Now you're cooler because I put your name first.
Yeah, whatever. But he was a really cool guy. He got me through a lot.
I say I put your name first as if I'm in charge of things. I do all the work, but I'm not in charge of things.
You're in charge. You've got all the toys. You could turn me off if you wanted to. Right now, I can't turn you off. Well, I mean, I can turn you off, but not from the whole thing.
Not from the show.
So anyway, we had that. That was early. And then Andy Abrams,
no recordings, I don't suppose.
No, but there are recordings that exist of Andy Abrams and I doing radio shows in his den on his dad's stereo system. And that was the PAC, the Pierce Abrams Company Radio Network, something like that. And then AP&C Broadcasting, I don't know, whatever. So we would interview each other and do characters and read commercials out of, magazines, read the ads and stuff like that. We'd play songs. So, and now
was this being broadcast or was this just?
No, this was just us doing it taping it on cassette. And he popped up, I don't know, several years ago. I went over, he still lives up in Highland Park. And,
Highland Park is a northern suburb of Chicago.
Yeah.
Because we are worldwide. In case you hadn't noticed, we're on YouTube and we have a podcast.
He lives next door to where Scottie Pippen lived, and I actually looked at Scottie Pippen's house to maybe buy it one time. That was in the mid-'90s. Anyway, so back when I was rich and famous, but and working in Chicago. But anyway.
I didn't know you were ever working in Chicago.
Yeah. And so he well, we'll get to that if we ever get to the theme of the show. And so he
I have a theme of the show. Here it is.
He popped up with a cassette of that. Anyway, so see, you got all the toys. I don't have the toys.
Yep.
Should we do our TikTok thing?
Not yet. We'll save that. We'll save that. That's going to be a treat.
You don't want to. Oh,
this could be the beat for the TikTok, but I got a different beat for the TikTok. We're going to do a TikTok, everybody.
Give me some beats, yo.
Have
you ever seen? Oh God. Why do I never remember names?
Because we're old.
She was in that movie about the bus that went out of control and she had to drive it. And it was going to blow up if she slowed down.
Yep. I know exactly who you meant. And if you hadn't given me that clue, I would have told you her name.
And she was in Miss Congeniality.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, come on.
I can look it up.
It's ridiculous.
Everyone listening is going, and saying the name.
I know. There's like 4 or 5 people that are like that. I can never remember their name, and then when I see it, Sandra Bullock. So Sandra Bullock.
Faster than I could look it up. Good job.
Sandra Bullock was on, well, yeah, sometimes you just got to dust something off. Sandra Bullock was on somebody's show, and I can't remember, Jimmy Kimmel, somebody's show, and she was rapping to Rapper's Delight because anyway, it was funny.
Yeah.
Watch.
We're going to do
look on YouTube, you can find it.
We're going to do a rap, ladies and gentlemen.
So, getting into radio. So those
stay tuned or run as fast as you can.
Those were early things in radio. And then I went to high school at New Trier, and you and Andy had helped build the radio station.
No, the radio station had been there for years and years.
Well, you did some engineering or something.
10
you were
watt,
involved with
10-watt educational station back when these things existed.
It's 100 watts now.
Yeah, it was real call letters, not made up WBDJ.
WNTH.
Yeah, New Trier High. And they're still on. They're still going.
And Mr. B. Bushnell.
Yeah. Yeah. And Rocky. CF Rocky.
And Rocky. Yeah. So they built the studio there were 2 New Trier high schools at the time. There was East, which is the original one, the old money one. And then they expanded over to West because they got landlocked on East, and West was in Northfield, and East was in Winnetka. And so you went to East originally, and then you got to go to West when it opened. And then I went to West, and they built a radio station in there. So they had the studios for the WNTH. But as I recall, you couldn't hear WNTH because it broadcast from New Trier East. You could barely hear it over at New Trier West because it was like 10 watts.
Yeah, it was difficult to hear.
Anyway, so the first thing I ever did in radio was walk into WNTH, and they go, "Oh God, another Pierce."
so
there was somebody actually there who overlapped by a year, and he's a famous guy. I don't know if I should mention his name, but do you remember Sam Glick?
Oh yeah, I remember Sam.
Sam went on to be very important and very famous, and we've been in touch.
I'm not sure how important and famous he was. This is New Trier High School. I'm showing the people from the Google Maps.
So they built
that's the East Campus, and the radio station was right up here in this little
tower.
penthouse thing.
Yeah. So you see how landlocked that is. They built West.
Suburbs are all around it.
So the population grew, and they built West. And then instead of expanding into West, the nice new building, they shut down West after a while and went back to East because the old money was on that side of the tracks in Winnetka, east of the tracks. We lived west of the tracks.
There's the New Trier West, a very, at the time, and still, pretty fancy looking, more of a college campus, open.
And they've
layout.
reopened it and stuff here and there. But
Is it a
if
high school again?
I think it is now. If you watch Uncle Buck, the movie with John Candy, that's the school that his niece went to, where he pulls up in front in that old smoking, backfiring car and drops her off. That was the school. Yeah. So John Hughes had a thing for the North Shore. So several of his movies were done up there.
Yep. Hey, pull your microphone a little closer to you.
Oh man,
You're sounding a little hollow.
I could do it. I think what happened is I didn't tighten up the thing.
It went floating away.
It's been sinking down. Oh, that makes my back hurt. Okay.
Oh,
Is that
see,
better?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We want that radio sound. We
The
don't
radio sound.
we don't want that TV sound where you sound, like you're in a giant cathedral or some kind. We want the radio sound.
So I walked into WNTH and it was, oh God, another Pierce. So I think I was in the continuity department.
I got kicked out of
PSAs or
WNTH.
something. I know, that's why, thus the got another Pierce. But anyway, Sam
Glick, hello, Sam. If I'm remembering the same guy, he ended up at NBC, WMAQ, when I was working there as a promotion director of some kind.
Yeah.
It didn't work for him at the time. But I remembered him from school. Have you ever been to a reunion?
I went to my 10th reunion.
My high school experience was so miserable that it was so miserable. Go ahead and ask the question.
How miserable was it?
It was so miserable that I spent an extra year. So although I was technically in the class of 68, I didn't graduate until after summer school of 69. And
as I recall, you did that in junior high school too. Andy caught up to you.
Yeah, when we moved from Detroit to the Chicago area, for some reason I got held back a year. I don't remember why. They may have said, well, the standards here are a little higher than where you came from. But they didn't hold Andy back. He came from the same place.
I mean, yeah, actually, junior high, we started was in Southfield. We did the white flight from Detroit to Southfield.
Yes.
So
they were blockbusting.
So Sam is the CEO and president at the Sam Glick Company.
I was the CEO and president of Pierce 10 Incorporated, so big deal.
He was the co-founder of Davis Glick Productions, former WMAQ TV manager. On-air promotion at WMAQ, former director of advertising at KGW, former WNBC TV director of advertising promotion. It's at KTLA and at Los Angeles.
I mean, he's contemporary. He's in his 70s. He should be retired now.
And I think he is. Well, he's still got his company. And do you know where he went to college?
I do not know.
Southern Illinois University.
That's where you went to college.
Yes, it is.
Anyway,
that's
to keep everybody up to date because they're taking notes. I went to Loyola University of Chicago. And when I say went to, I'm not including the word graduated from because I didn't. I left early because I got a job in my chosen field, more or less.
I went to University of Illinois, Chicago, and then Southern Illinois University. Yep. And that was a transfer because I wanted to go into radio.
And they did more radio. They did radio down there.
Oh God, it was one of the top programs in the country at that time. It was rivaling UCLA. They were the top two, I think. There may have been a third one in there somewhere.
It produced you. We can tell there's quality.
Thank you. I just did my little oral history for the Alumni Association yesterday. So that's pretty cool.
I assume that you told them that you're in this podcast now.
No, I forgot. So what was I going to say? Oh, so I've been following our theme today. You haven't. So
Keep
But
dragging,
you worked the
keep
WNTH.
dragging me back. Yep. Yeah, I did. I never had the courage to get in front of a microphone and talk. So that's where I started learning my button pushing.
I did one air shift there. It was a show called Midday, and it played like Percy Faith music. It was modern music for the modern housewife. Well, back then it sounded more like modern music for the modern housewife.
I've got audio. I've got not
on WNTH.
Yep. Yeah. My voice got on WNTH one time back at band camp. When we were doing a concert, we're playing a concert live from an auditorium. It wasn't an auditorium. It was a brick. I think it was a gymnasium, all brick walls. Probably the music from that concert is still reverberating off of those brick walls. And we had one microphone suspended about 30 feet above the band. Probably sounded terrible. But one of the other guys who was not afraid to be on the air was doing the announcing, and I was running the little mixer, little 2-channel mixer. And my job was to occasionally say, "This is the National Educational Radio," or as you put it, "This is the National Educational Radio Network."
Oh, cool.
That's what I
How
did.
cool is that?
Yeah. We were not a network. We were not national. We were barely educational.
And barely on the air.
Yeah. And if I'd have tuned in a transistor radio from where we were, I wouldn't have been able to hear the station. I got kicked out of WNTH.
Wow. How do you get kicked out of a high school radio station?
Well, as you were describing it, that they opened up this West Campus. And before they opened it up when I was a sophomore. So, and I was spent my freshman year at the East Campus, and then I became a sophomore in the class that inaugurated the West Campus with just 2 classes because they hadn't finished building everything. And they hadn't built the radio station studio yet. So a friend of mine, my mentor in many things, his name was Bob. It's now
I know
R. Winston.
Yes.
But,
Yes.
but those of us back in the day know him as Bob.
Yeah.
He was also working at the radio station, engineering. And we wanted to set up the ability to interview people for the open house for inaugurating the West Campus. So very early on. And being ham radio guys, we knew how to jeep things into the phone lines. And back in the day, it was forbidden to jeep into phone lines. The AT&T, the phone company, the only phone company that there was back in those days, we're talking 1965, 1966. Back then, you couldn't connect things to phone lines.
That's what jeeping is.
Forbidden, yeah. But we knew how to put the little wires in and make connections. In the ham radio days, we ran things called phone patches. We connected our ham radios to the phone line and could put people onto the ham radio. Radio stations did the same thing. Radio stations connected to phone lines. How they got permission from AT&T to be able to do that, I don't know. But we didn't
You had to have a Western Electric beeper box.
Yeah, probably.
And the phone company would come in and install this thing on the wall. And because you had to have a beep if you put somebody on the air to let them know they were on the air.
That's right. Every 30 seconds or so.
They had this big gray box on the wall, and that's how the phone interconnected into it. And you'd flip the switch to flip it on and make the beep go.
Yeah.
So anyway.
So we didn't have that. So we took our little remote mixer and connected one of its inputs to the phone line with clip leads.
That's how we used to do basketball games.
Yeah, we took the and the little radio station did basketball games that way, but you leased a special line.
Yes.
It wasn't a telephone line. You leased a special
Well, we
line.
didn't always do that where I worked.
And so that was okay. You could connect to that. So I guess that's how we knew how to do it. So we connected to the phone line. They had 4 lines intertying the 2 schools. I put up 2 fingers. They had 4 lines interconnecting
I'll put up the other
2
two.
schools. Yeah, or you could do AI and we could each have 7 fingers. Or we could do like Colbert does and say, yeah.
You remember that when we were kids, they had a thing called 6-finger, and it was like a cap gun that looked like a finger, and you would put it in the palm of your hand, and it would stick up like another finger, but you could shoot.
Do not remember that. Look that up on YouTube while I'm finishing my story. So anyway, we connected into that phone line. We called the East studio. We had arranged all of this amongst us students without any assistance from the faculty advisors.
Ooh.
And so one of the students was over at West with microphone interviewing people for the radio station live on the air about the West, opening the West campus. Is that 6-finger?
6-finger.
Okay. And
Anyway, so yeah.
yeah, and everything was cool, and probably a few staff administrators were listening, enjoying all of this, and not saying, how are they doing this? Until the school operator came on, noticing that one of the phone lines had been in use continuously for over an hour.
And she saw it lit up on her switchboard,
on the switchboard. And I don't know exactly what she said, but it would have been something like, "That's just the operator. What's going on here?" At which point the faculty advisors went, "Wait a minute, how are they doing this?" And they came and saw us up in the office with our mixer jeeped into the phone line and said,
"Oh my,
no, that violates so many AT&T regulations that we're probably going to lose phone privileges for the high school for a year." You guys.
So as a news reporter, I'm really familiar with that because we used to get in the phone lines to send stories back and audio back out of tape recorders to a radio station using those alligator clipping in to them. And, but we did it by taking the mouthpiece off the phone. We didn't, cut the wires, but,
we didn't cut any wires. We just opened the box.
But they had, the phone company used to glue on payphones. They would glue the
mouthpiece
cover on. And so we had what were called phone crackers and that you would carry in your kit, a reporting kit. And it was basically,
we call them pliers,
a pair of like channel lock pliers.
Yeah. Big.
You could open
because
big
they have
enough
to
and
be
you
pretty
would
big.
crack it open. And then, so you would file your report, much like I filed for Mutual Sports, through that. And you'd record it into your recorder. You'd send the elements of it, down the phone line. And so anyway, you get done with that. And then what you would do, if you were first to the phone to file your report in a competitive situation, you would steal the microphone out of the phone and put the thing back on. So the next reporter couldn't file the story and yours would get on first.
They could connect to some wires, but they couldn't have said hello. Oh, that may be an apocryphal story.
That may or may not have ever happened.
Yeah.
A lot of what I will tell you may or may not have ever happened.
Yep. We're here for entertainment.
So you were WNTH and you got into that. And then you were on the Loyola radio station, right?
Yes, but I was on WDOR in Sturgeon Bay before.
Oh, you were?
So, yeah. I got into that just after leaving high school.
Now, how did that happen?
Graduating high school. Well, you remember I've told you about this ham radio thing that I've been in.
Yeah. Hold on.
And
this up. It keeps going down.
Yeah, so I was going to tell you
it's a bad stand. That hurts.
I need to give it some mic stand Viagra.
Whatever.
A friend of mine in ham radio was an engineer and lived in Sturgeon Bay. And he had been the chief engineer for the radio station.
Was that
Lyle
Lyle?
Henry? Yep.
Did he go on to be really famous and invent a lot of stuff out in California?
Maybe not invent a lot of stuff, but yeah, he did go out to California.
Made a lot of stuff. I know.
He may have invented some technology. I'm not trying to obfuscate here. I really don't remember, other than sort of remember. He was working. They had a company up there that manufactured electronic organs, not pacemakers, music. I told a dad joke. But he had been engineer for the radio station. The radio station wanted him back. And so he said, well, I will come back. I don't know if he was tired of working for the organ company or whatever. I'll come back, but you got to hire my friend who's just getting out of high school. And they needed somebody for a shift. The person that had been in that shift got drafted. And so a shift opened up and they said, okay, actually, when I first went up there, I only had like 1 day a week, and then he got drafted and opened up the shift. It was the night shift from 6 to 11. We went off the air at 11. And even
a lot of radio stations used to do that.
Yep, there was a daytime AM station and a full-time FM, but we went off the air at 11. So I could have, if I wanted to work till midnight or 2 a.m. for free, I could have done that. But anyway, that was the shift. And so he said, if you hire this guy, I'll come work for you. And so he did.
I don't know. I can't make it show up.
Yeah, that's
Lyle.
Yeah. With the organ. Maybe that was the kind of organ. It was a squeeze box, an accordion.
Yeah. He because there's always a public radio connection to everything in my life. He was at KUSC as the chief engineer in LA.
Okay. He was also chief engineer at KIQQ, K100.
Mm-hmm.
The QQ, as close as they could come to making a logo out of a call sign that looked like 100.
100.
Yeah. K100.
Okay. So you get this job and you've never been on the radio before, and they hire you to be on the radio.
Yes. And so it sounded like this. Sounded like this.
And this is probably what it sounded like, a lot of dead air.
Yeah. It's here somewhere. What happened? Oh, I got the wrong fader up. This is part of my
legacy.
Yeah. Just pushing the wrong buttons all the time. I was famous at the radio station that I was working at in Lake Havasu City for picking the needle up off the turntable of the record that was on the air.
Was
currently playing. At radio stations, typically you have two turntables, so you can play one record and start another one as the first one's ending. And so one is playing, and one you're going to take the needle off, change the record, put another record on.
You got two turntables and a microphone.
Get it queued up, get it ready to go. And and I was really good at picking the needle up off of the record that I just started. So this time, however, I started playing my audio file with the fader down.
A service of ABC News. This is the sound of wonderful music. WDOR.
Good evening. My name is Gary Pierce, and we are here with the Thursday night radio program from WDOR FM.
This is not sped up.
That I think I'm catching whatever's going around, so a warning: stay away from your radio. Don't get too close. And by all means, don't touch the dial. That could seriously cause you to catch what I might have.
Telling dad jokes back then.
Peggy Lee. I think she's got what I might have.
Like your brother.
I think she's got what I have.
I love this.
Oh, yeah, sure can. And chess, too, if you want to get into that.
More dad jokes.
That's weird. Love story. 9 minutes past 7 o'clock. Weather outside. Cloudy, mild tonight and tomorrow. Some snow developing late tonight and tomorrow. Tonight's low near 24, which really seems like a high, doesn't it? Tomorrow high will be near 30. Probably cloudy and snow flurries ending, turning colder
Northeast Wisconsin in January.
Awesome.
Southeasterly winds 8 to 14 miles per hour. Tonight becoming northerly 7 to 12 miles per hour. Tomorrow afternoon, that's when the cold weather starts. Precipitation probabilities are 60% for tonight, and tomorrow 20% for tomorrow night.
I swear
On the
that's
stage
it's
right
not
now,
sped up.
Milwaukee is cloudy, 25
That's
degrees. Madison is cloudy.
We did not have a news
Milwaukee's
teletype,
cloudy
but
at
we
30,
had a
Madison's
weather
cloudy about
teletype.
27.
So all I had for material
Boston,
was
28. Green
the
Bay
weather
has 30
teletype.
degrees right now. Wausau is reporting freezing drizzle, 27. Eau Claire has got the same stuff in 27. Park Falls, freezing drizzle, and 27 degrees. At least we haven't gotten any freezing drizzle yet. That's not too bad.
Do you want a
Taste
brass?
of honey. Come by.
I'm good.
Herb
Past 7 o'clock. You know, it's not
I
often
can
you feel
name
like
that
you're
song
getting
in one
twice as
note.
much as for your money, but you do right now during the Olafson Vitamin Sale at the Algoma Pharmacy, where you buy one and get another free. Sometimes it
Bogo.
happens with bubblegum machines. 2 bottles of 100 super geriatric formula for over 40 folks.
Great ad-libs.
Matter of fact, probably over 100 folks. No, that's over 40 years old. They're just $5.49. Regular $3.96. Children's
Trying not to
chewable
get myself in
vitamins with
trouble.
iron, fruit flavored are 2 bottles of 60 for $1.98. There are also low prices on other vitamins and on 2 tables.
You
of
better
fruit
have something at
preparation.
least this bad
Happy
to
New
play.
Year.
No.
Not too late for that. From the Algoma
never did
Pharmacy, your Walgreens store across the street from the clinic in Algoma.
A tight board, though. Tight board.
Wow.
Right now, here's Eddie Arnold. Going to sing about the past.
Yesterday, when I was
A little bit of
young.
reminiscing now.
I love it.
Yesterday, when
Talking at the
I was
post with a little
young.
relevant banter.
Doing my best.
Called The Hazy Shade of Winter. Simon and Garfunkel music played by the Living Brass. My name is Gary
The
Shears. You're tuned to the
Living
Thursday night radio program from WDOR FM.
Yeah, straight out of
Now,
middle of the road
time for
radio,
news from the
MOR
American
music.
Information Radio Network, right here on WDOR FM, Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin, 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
And
Hit
back
network.
time. Back
Hit
time.
network.
And there's the beep. Back time to the beep.
News of the
Nailed
hour
it.
on the hour from American Information Radio. This is Roger Sharp from New York. And
We
at this hour,
had,
it is Friday morning
for
in
some
Auckland, New
reason,
Zealand.
we
Vice
had a
President
Class A
Caroline
phone
Farr.
line at that little radio station out in the middle of no place. That's why the audio from the news doesn't sound like this. And I thought,
Yeah.
there was nothing special about that till I got to my next radio station, and it was the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Oh God, yeah. We were so far on the end of the line of the first commercial station I worked at on the Mutual network that we had to run it through a tape recorder and use the amplifier in the tape recorder to boost up the volume so it would be loud enough to put on the air. And then eventually, well, there was so much noise in the background of it. And then at least one time when I was on the air, the noise just got louder and louder and louder. It was like hiss, and then it was all hiss, and then it all stopped. And the network line dropped. Because they used to daisy chain them from station to station to station. By the time you got done at the end of the line, you just, oh my God. So another one I worked at had ABC News like that with Keeve Berman as the announcer. And I just remember you could barely, it was almost unintelligible. It was just like, everything else. It's like, it was terrible. And then all of a sudden, satellites came about. This was late 70s. And people got news over I think Mutual was one of the first all satellite delivery networks. Anyway, then it sounded so good that all of the radio stations had to buy new microphones because their studios sounded like that now compared to.
Well, that was a bad recording, but you could hear.
Oh yeah.
Well, we were. It was a ribbon microphone I was talking into, an old RCA. I remember the microphones that look like a giant pill capsule. I think that's the DX77.
77.
Yeah, this was not that, and I can never remember the name, but this was the more of a diamond shaped.
The 44BX.
That could be, but that voice, it haunts me. Okay, I have to redeem. What are you hunting?
I'm looking for my ribbon mic. It's in a box here, labeled really old microphone. But twisting like this hurts, and I can't find it. I saw it yesterday when I was going through stuff.
You need to limber up and exercise more.
I do yoga, but I haven't done it yet because of
your back.
It was hard to get out of bed today.
All right. Well, I need to redeem myself a little bit here for the audience. I guess you can hear what I sound like now.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure when my voice changed. I was 19 years old then. You would think my voice had changed. Somewhere, apparently it happened a little later.
Oops.
Because here I am now. Let me redeem myself. I went from there. The disc jockey I replaced had been drafted. Well, unfortunately, I had been skating on a high school deferment. That's not why it took me five years to get out of high school, but it sounds like it. And once I left high school, of course, the draft board reclassified me 1A because I did not get to sit on the end of the Group W bench.
I was 1A, but the draft ended.
Yeah,
the war ended.
Yeah. Well, this was before the lottery. 1A was basically cannon fodder. And our dad, bless him, said, I'm conservative as he was, not letting them send you to Vietnam. You're going to school. And the folks at WDOR said, well, we could get you in school at Green Bay. And for some reason, though, Dad, not paying very much attention to me and my career, my burgeoning career, set me up at a school that would actually take me based on my F+ high school graduation transcripts at a school down in central Illinois, not too far from where you are now, over in Lincoln.
Lincoln Community College.
Yeah. And it got me there. And so as I was driving down there to get ready to go to school, having left WDOR, goodbye, thank you. Well, maybe I can get a job at the radio station there. And so I tuned them in. It was AM 1370 WPRC. Pierce. We spell our name Pearce, not not PIE. And I'm listening to them. It's a 1,000-watt AM daytimer. I'm about 20 miles out. I can start actually hearing them. And they're playing the same kind of middle-of-the-road music that I played up at WDOR.
So you were very familiar with the format already.
Didn't matter because they were an automated station and everything came off of big reels of tape. But as it happened, there was a guy who was doing his sort of a live show, even though most of the time the station was going to be automated. He was doing sort of a live show. His name was Ron. Should I say his last name? He's probably dead by now. Paggy. And I'm tuned in and I'm listening and the music ends. And I'm going to say an explicit word, ladies and gentlemen. I'll punch the E button on. We can do this on YouTube as long as you don't say the bad words in the first 7 seconds. You're okay on YouTube. And on the audio podcast, there's a button I can press that will put an E next to it for explicit. For one word in the entire show. We said bullshit last time.
Yeah.
So the song fades out and then there's silence. Silence is radio death. You don't want silence on radio.
And then one of the George Carlin words came up.
Well, at first there was silence. I need a prop here. Let's see. These two things we'll do for props. It was silence and then fuck. As he was trying to make something play.
Make something work, yeah.
And didn't realize his microphone was open. And I'm saying to myself, and I'm kind of belying what I said on the last show, that I don't have memories of things like that. I just have little snapshots. Everything that I tell you are the few memories that I've got in any length. And this is a maximum of 30-second memory. I said to myself, I just got a job. And so this was a Saturday or a Sunday afternoon. And I went over to the radio station and said, I didn't mention what I had heard. I was astute enough not to do that. But I went over to the radio station and said, here's my background and I'm interested. I'm going to just starting school and I'm interested in the part-time job, whatever you got. And they said, can you start tomorrow? They didn't want to hear an air check. They didn't want to hear anything.
They just needed somebody on.
They certainly didn't need to hear this.
Service of ABC News.
Let me move it along a little bit. They didn't need to hear this.
Good evening. My name is Gary Pierce, and we are
Gary
here with the
Pierce.
Thursday night radio
Yeah.
program.
My name
on
is
WDOR.
Gary Pierce.
But I on that station, I didn't sound any better, but I didn't get on the air that much in terms of disc jockeying. We made commercials. Well, the automation played.
Automation played. And
Yeah.
yeah. So
So I was
buy
on-
from boss and avoid the loss.
You remember that? Buy
Remember
from
that?
boss and avoid the loss. I don't have
course
any
I do.
recordings from that to play for you, unfortunately.
And then there was some robo car wash commercial.
We didn't
I
have
tracked your career.
we didn't have a
Very close.
McDonald's in that town at this point. This was 1970. 1970. No
We used to
McDonald's.
take the
There was-
GM&O Railroad, the Gulf Mobile in Ohio, down to see you.
yeah. This was
Back
before
when they had passenger trains. not
before they
Amtrak.
built Interstate 55 from Chicago to St. Louis.
Yeah.
So running by the station, right outside the station, Route 66. Get your kicks.
Route 66.
Yep.
And then we ate in the Greyhound bus station at the corner of Keokuk and Kickapoo.
You came down to visit apparently a few times. I don't remember at all.
Yeah.
So you
A
saw
friend of
me,
mine from college, a classmate from college, worked at that station too.
and by that time you
Great
would have
cop.
been. Were you still in high school, or what year did you start?
I would have been in
college?
high school. 73.
Oh yeah, yeah. You're definitely still in high school back then.
Mm-hmm.
So still being highly influenced by your brother's career
Mm-hmm.
in major market radio.
Yeah.
All right. So I don't have any sound to play from that. I transferred from Lincoln College to Loyola University, majoring in what they call back in that time radio and television. They don't call the majors like that, and it's all communications or media these days. But no, it's radio and television.
My degree's in radio and television.
Yep. Having had experience at 2 radio stations at that time, I knew more about media than my instructors did because they had never worked at a radio station. So I was the star. I was the bomb. And the college had a carrier current AM station. These days they have an FM, educational FM station. But
WLUW.
we call ourselves at the time WLUC, which is another made up call sign, Loyola University of Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And I was mostly an engineer, but in order to get me to be the engineer who would fix things, they had to give me an air shift. And so I got to be on the air. And I was, through these 2 radio stations, slowly improving over what you heard from WDOR. Slowly, painfully improving a little bit. Maybe my voice had changed a little. And then I got a job. Now I'm in Chicago, in the big city of Chicago, where I grew up. I don't know why I always wanted to be on radio, but for some reason that became my goal, to be in radio broadcasting. Jay's taking a nap.
No. I'm looking up something.
Okay.
Something relevant.
Yeah. And rolling back to WDOR, the very first time I got there, realizing my dream, playing the first record, opening the mic for the first time, and discovering I had nothing to say. Didn't know what to fill the airtime with. Didn't know how to do liners. Didn't know how to do all that stuff. What you heard on that tape, that was me having educated myself a little bit about how to do this radio thing. It got a little better. So then I got a job. I got a call from another ham. Most of my career has been
Hams have helped you out.
advanced by contacts to ham radio. So a guy that was a ham, he was an engineer, maybe not chief engineer. He was in management someplace at NBC WMAQ. And I talked to him on walkie-talkies when he was standing on top of the building that NBC studios were in, Merchandise Mart. Well, he got hired away from NBC to work at a little boutique television production company that had just opened up. Yep, that was the name of the company.
Yeah, see, I followed your career.
And he needed to hire somebody who knew how to do audio mixing, do basic audio board stuff. And so he asked me if I'd be interested. I just finished my junior year, had senior year to go, and took the job because it was going to pay real money. And I just got married and we were broke. And it wasn't exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a big boss DJ. Never accomplished that. But it paid real money, and it was more or less in the media business that I wanted to be in. So I took that job, intending to finish my degree with night school. And I made it to 2 or 3 night school classes, and then the overtime hit, and I never was able to get back, and at the last minute withdrew from classes without getting an F. By the way, I got out of high school with a F plus.
Whoa.
My GPA in college was 3.5 out of 4.
How did that happen?
Something turned around.
Yeah.
I credit 90% of the credit I give to my first semester in college. I took a journalism class taught by a reporter from the Bloomington Pantograph.
Oh, yeah?
You know that paper?
Yeah.
Yeah. Bloomington is up the road from Lincoln. And what he did was he taught me how to write. And from then on, I would write papers for college classes as if they were newspaper or magazine stories.
Oh, really?
Cogent, fact-based, informative, understandable, sparse. And the teachers, the professors, the teachers would read these papers and compare them to the direct they were getting from everybody else that were meandering and rambling. And by the way, meandering and rambling was my first radio show. I'm an expert at that now, clearly an expert at that now.
Clearly.
And you're not helping. And they would read these papers and say, my God, A+++, this guy knows his stuff.
Wow.
It didn't matter whether I really knew the material. I could write well. So
yeah,
that's
all it
that was
takes.
good. That's how I transitioned in college to getting good grades.
So
Features so bright, had to wear
you can't
shades.
really see these things.
That's you, and I should recognize the other guy, but I don't.
On the set of Wait, They'll Tell Me.
Oh, that's Bill Curtis.
Bill Curtis.
Yeah, who took over from Carl Castle.
Yeah. Anyway, so
What were you doing there?
My mind just went back a million. It jumps around.
Yeah, Bill Curtis is currently there.
What was I doing there? I was there for a live taping.
Cool. But I still
when
got
you're
the Prairie Home.
an NPR guy, you get to.
I still got the Prairie Home Companion. Anybody can go to a live taping. They have a studio audience. It's probably free. So to contract the story a little bit, from 1973 until 1986, I worked in television, little boutique production companies. In the middle of that, 2 years at WMAQ at NBC.
Yeah.
Editing, making commercials, designing studios, things like that. Not fulfilling my dream. Also developing a pretty substantial alcohol and drug habit.
Ew.
And it was time to break out of that and quit. And I thought, I want to go see if I can make it in what I really wanted to do. I want to give this a try, and see if radio is my future somehow. Because you by that time were working in the dream, living the dream, working in radio.
Yeah.
This was 1986 or so. Where were you then?
I was just moving from WCIL to WSIU.
Yeah. And I came
Assistant news director at WCIL and morning drive news anchor, moving to assistant news director and all things considered local host at WSIU, where I got benefits and vacation time.
Yeah. All in southern Illinois, Carbondale area.
Yeah.
For those of you, in Washington State trying to figure out what we're talking about, we are Illinoisians or Illinoising. And now I live in South Carolina, the buckle of the Bible Belt. You're still in central Illinois.
Yes,
I've never left.
I've been up and down.
You've never left the confines of the state.
Yeah, I was up and down. We started in Detroit, moved to Chicago, and then I moved to Carbondale, and then Texas, and then back to the Carbondale area, Marion. And then,
So you did leave the confines of the state.
yeah, once. And then Chicago again, and then Champaign, and then the Quad Cities, and now back to Champaign.
We need to learn about the jobs you had in Chicago. You had a
Okay,
chance to
well,
be
we could
big time radio.
I was big
What
time
happened?
radio. I was big time radio.
You worked at a radio station in Chicago?
No, I was the news and program director of a radio network.
Illinois.
And WMAQ was our affiliate. And
But you weren't at
So-
their studio. You were.
no, but I was at our studio, which was in River North, and they were actually in the NBC tower then. But what was I thinking about? Well, we're getting ahead of ourselves.
We are.
I'll tell a story.
Okay, so I quit the, at the time, exceedingly lucrative television editing job. I was doing real well, getting good grades. Future so bright, had to wear shades, drug habit, alcohol. I was going to quit. And I thought,
I was going to quit.
I want to
You
try
did.
I want to try the radio thing. I did quit. And I was reading the back of Broadcasting Magazine. There was no internet back then. We didn't have these resources. Reading the back of the Broadcasting Magazine where they have the want ads for radio station jobs. And a radio station job came up at WMBD in Peoria.
Yeah.
Now, I was in Chicago, super major
awesome.
market. For Peoria would be a big city in most states.
They didn't hire me when I applied there.
Not in Chicago. And they had a job. It was listed, if I recall correctly, for a nighttime talker.
Yeah, they were talk. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a talk show. It was from
World's most beautiful drive.
7 until 9 p.m. And then I went to interview, and the program director was telling me we would like the show to go till 10, but we got Larry King at 9, so it's only 2 hours.
Well, you could talk for 3 hours.
The reason that I got an interview was
What year was this?
1986.
Okay.
I sat in
was
my
Greg,
apartment.
was the program director's name Greg?
Don't remember. I sat in my apartment. I turned on the tape recorder and I rambled for 45 minutes. Don't know what I talked about. Don't have that tape anymore. Sent him the only copy. And got a phone call. Can you come down and audition? And then they put me on the show with the current host. The current host was being promoted to afternoon drive. Don't know where the afternoon drive guy was going.
What was his name? Just first name.
Don't remember.
The evening.
Don't
You don't
remember.
remember?
Don't remember.
Yeah. I know a lot of people there
And
over the years.
and they called back and said, "Are you interested? Because you can have the job."
Really?
And I was thinking hard. What I really, 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 really wanted to do was get on my motorcycle and ride for the summer. This WMBD thing just came up out of reading the back of the magazine and saying, well, might as well give it a shot and see what happens. They're never going to hire me. It was $18,000 a year. I was making $65,000, but it was $18,000.
I think I was
Which-
making 18,000 about then.
Yeah, about what radio stations pay. Not a lucrative
You were making
career.
65,000 back then?
Yeah, for a couple of years.
I should have not estranged from you. I should have hung out with you.
I was really well paid for the Chicago market. In looking around just to do something different, I talked to a TV production company in Dallas, and about maybe moving down there, and I'm not sure why. And we're talking salaries, and I mentioned what I made, and he said, "Well, no, there's no way this market pays that." So yeah, that was outstanding money for Chicago, and even pretty good money for New York and Los Angeles. So nobody else is getting paid that much. Apparently, I was good as a video editor.
Yeah, you were a good video editor. You did cool commercials.
Yeah.
You did the Budweiser with the saber things.
Yeah, there's more to talk about that, but we'll head on to the 7th hour of the show, so we'll hold that for some later
Okay.
time. So anyway, I turned them down, and the guy said, "Well, be careful what you ask for, what you dream of." I got on the motorcycle. The reason I didn't take that, I wanted to do the motorcycle trip, but also I was getting high every day, all day, every day. And except when I was at work, and not paying that much attention to the news and unable to focus and keep thoughts in my brain the way I thought I would need to do a 2-hour talk show every night.
Yeah. That would be rough.
Probably if I had taken it, I might have had a couple of rough nights, and then I would start to sink in and be able to make notes and do stuff like I can now. But I was afraid. I was a weenie. And so I turned them down.
Sorry.
Got on the motorcycle, had a great trip. Goal of the motorcycle trip was to get off drugs, get off alcohol. That didn't work. Took a few more years.
It did eventually.
Yep. But at the end of that trip, just holding up a picture of me as probably about 9 or 10.
You looked older than that.
Yeah. Paying no attention to my monologue.
I'm totally, I can multitask.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a radio guy I used to run 2 radio stations at the same time, one in one channel of the board and one in the other. And I could do both.
I think that was Ed Allen's story when he worked in Chicago. He was on the air at 2 radio stations whose studios were in the same building, but up and down the hall. And he had to run back and forth between them. I think that's a vague story I sort of remember. Anyway, end of the motorcycle trip, time to get a job. Back at Broadcasting Magazine, ad for disc jockey in Lake Havasu City, Arizona.
I visited you there. I remember.
Yeah.
But you were already fired by then.
Yeah. I don't remember you coming to visit. I remember Dad coming. I don't think you were on that visit.
No, I was not. I came out by myself. Anyway, I could tell you why, but I'm not gonna.
Yeah, things were rough for you, I believe, at that time.
Well, they were rough for you, and somebody needed to fill in some gaps in your memory, so I came out to do that.
Yeah, I don't remember you coming, so apparently it wasn't successful in filling in the gaps.
It was
in my
yes,
memory.
The person that you were working with to straighten yourself out needed some history about some stuff, and so I came out and provided that.
Yeah, I was seeing a therapist, and
yes,
that was very nice of you. I have no memory of it at all.
There was some girl that you were going out with, and she was living on a like a patio chase lounge thing in your living room. Do you remember her?
No, I think you're talking about Peggy.
Yeah, it was Peggy.
I wasn't going out with her. She was a friend from Chicago.
But she was living in...
No, she came out to visit for a week or 2.
Okay, well, that was it.
Yeah,
but I just remember her being on a chase lounge thing. Anyway.
Yep. Well, anyway, so I applied for that job. I had been through the town on the motorcycle trip, like Havasu City, on the way back toward North Carolina, where Dad was living.
Brother's biker years.
Yeah. So it was a Honda Goldwing.
I know Andy had the Harley.
What they call a 2-wheel Winnebago. So I get back to where am I going with the story? I am
on the radio
I get back to North Carolina. I applied for the job. I had brought a video camera with me on my trip and was documenting this summer-long motorcycle trip with a lot of video. And I had some video from like Havasu City. So instead of sending an audition audio tape, I sent the guy a videotape. And I stood out on the dock of where my dad was living at the time and set the camera up on a tripod and pointed at me and doing the audition into the camera. In Lake Havasu City, well, first I held up a cue card with my name on it. I didn't have any editing ability, no way to, all of my editing tools and stuff were left behind a long time ago. So I held up a card, had my name on it, and I threw it away, and I was clearly standing on a dock, and I edited in a splash. I'm a comedian, like Havasu City, I'd been there, and I edited in. This was just with pause editing on a video recorder, VHS video recorders, hitting the pause button, changing the input source, let go on the pause button. And I played a couple shots of Lake Havasu City. And I sent that off to him and get the call back. And yeah, I got the job, or at least come out and do the interview for the job.
So Lake Havasu City is where the London Bridge is.
Right. Lake Havasu itself is a lake on the Colorado River.
Yeah.
Created by a dam down in a few miles downriver in the town of Parker. But this is where the water could all pool up once they dammed the river. And the river level came up, but then where it pooled out was where Lake Havasu was. For a long time, there was no town there. And it was an area where the McCullough Chainsaw Company would test their motorboats. They made boat motors too.
Yeah.
And so they would test them there. And the guy, the CEO of that company, said, this would be a cool place to sell some property, make a town. There was some ground that was more or less flat enough.
Wow.
And so they started a town sometime in the 60s. And, I show up in the 80s. The town is 25,000 people or so. Low desert Arizona town, 110 degrees in the summer, 50 degrees in the wintertime. And a little radio station to get some publicity for this town. That property had sold okay for a while and it kind of flattened out. They said, what can we do to get our name out there a little more? And he learned that London in England was going to demolish the London Bridge and rebuild it. And he made them a deal. He would buy not the bridge, not the superstructure, not the ironworks, just the facade, the bricks. And he bought all the bricks, had them numbered so they knew how to put it back together, shipped to Arizona. There was a peninsula in Lake Havasu. And so on dry land at a narrow isthmus leading out to the peninsula, I think I'm using that word correctly, they constructed 3 spans of the London Bridge, which used to be 4 or 5 spans. They constructed part of it. They built a bridge and they put the bricks, the superstructure on it, and called it the London Bridge. Wow. And then they dug a channel underneath it, turning the peninsula into an island, and built a little town around it, the English Village. And sure enough, that got them national news and they started selling property again. So everything was great.
That's so cool. I have, and if my back didn't hurt, I'd go get it because it's right over there. A little piece of the London Bridge that I got at a souvenir shop there when I was visiting you. And it's got a fire hydrant on it and a dog lifting its leg for some reason. Yeah. And I have that. It's right over there. But
they had lots of London Bridge left over.
Yeah.
Because they only built maybe 3 of the 5 spans. So they had plenty of bricks left over to sell as tchotchkes. So you got one. Cool.
So yeah, I got one. I'd go get it, but I can't. So WMBD radio 5 years or so later than you, maybe it's about 5 years. They did not hire me. And I went up there and interviewed and spent the day there.
Didn't recognize the
director name. Did this and that. And I did not get the job.
You're not the brother of that guy that turned us down, are you?
I wanted to work there because, well, I had a connection to Peoria through my then wife. And
well, if Chicago doesn't exist, WMBD would be one of the big stations in the state. I mean, they were AM, FM, and TV. They had a TV station.
Well, yeah, they were owned by the same people that own WCIA TV here in Champaign, and KFMB, AM, FM, and TV in San Diego, where our brother worked as an engineer. And I worked at
I thought he worked in Sacramento.
He did that too.
Oh, that too.
He worked a lot of places. Yeah. So it was Midwest Television was the name of the company. And so that was the last one that they owned, but Channel 3 is where they started. And I was one of the last booth announcers in television, and it was at Channel 3. I did and now we return to so-and-so in such and such movie themes. I did the News Scope, brought to you by Luther Falls Stone Company. I did the little announcing things. They were recorded, but I was in the booth. It was the booth, and I recorded them on tape carts. So,
All right. So anyway,
you got fired.
I got the job. I got the job at KFWJ AM, KBBC FM.
Yes, because of the bridge.
Yeah. The reason for the KFWJ call sign, well, the owner of the station, name was Lee. He was a ham, but he didn't know I was a ham when he hired me. Found that out after I got there. So there was a ham radio connection, but it wasn't what got me the job. It was my pure raw talent. Plus, he had a little TV station that was a translator.
Oh, really?
It was a translator for something else, but he had in the back of the building we were in some equipment set up to be a studio, but it was not air conditioned. So in the summertime, you couldn't go back there because it was 140 degrees. And he had thoughts of getting that going as a local TV station. And so while he may have appreciated my abilities on the air, I think in the back of his mind, he hired me because I could be his TV engineer sooner or later. So anyway, that never happened. In the 3 months that I worked there, there was this.
For all the facts, call this station and say,
I saw it on the radio.
By the way, tight board, right? Still doing the tight board here.
Good time to tell you that KFWJ is rated number 1. Arbitron has just completed the Mojave County listener survey. KFWJ
now, I still don't know where that voice came from. It's one octave down from WDOR.
Listened to of all AM and FM stations.
God, I don't even recognize
Colorado
you.
River from Blythe to Lake Mead. How about that? Number 1, thanks to you, our listeners.
KFWJ.
I talked up
KBBC,
this.
Lake
Everything
Havasu City,
manually operated,
American home
manually
to the
talked
London
up.
Bridge.
start spreading the news.
7 o'clock.
Didn't even get the beep in there.
That's the Business Barometer. I'm Cynthia Hecht.
KFWJ, KBBC, and Gary Pierce.
From a psychological standpoint, the radio station represents a link to normalcy. I don't think they'll wander far as long as it's operating.
Goodbye, Joe.
All manual, 100% manual playing cards.
Tight board.
I hope we don't get a takedown on YouTube for all this.
The Blue Ridge Rangers, Jambalaya. Fun on the bio. On the bio, like a biography. Bayou. Get your Louisiana down there, Gary.
Ladies and gentlemen, here's the thing. He's Uncle Gary.
Anybody
Recognize
else wanna
that
say
voice?
something here?
Friday!
No,
And
who
it's
was that
21
voice?
minutes after 7 o'clock. 22 minutes after 7. Good morning, Gary Pierce here. The Breakfast Flakes radio program, AM 98.
This was a morning zoo show.
From also FM 101 KBBC. I want to forget the FM side.
Here's the Uncle Gary. That was your son,
Children 12
Dale.
years of age or under
Was it?
have to wear a
We recorded that at WSIU, I think, when I was on my way out to take this job.
Not only that, but motorboat passengers will be restricted from riding on the following: gunnels, transoms, or decked bows. All that according to provisions of a bill passed recently by the 1987 Arizona legislature and signed into law by Governor Meekum. Arizona boating laws already require that one Coast Guard approved.
We never really got to read commercials on that station. We recorded all the commercials. The FM station was automated. The AM station was live, but we still had to record all the commercials. So this is my...
Kevin is coming into the station for the regional weather forecast. Mitch is cranking up the sports trivia contest. All of that very soon.
You sounded great.
Got to play rock and roll.
I mean, if your voice had dropped by then, you would be awesome. It's major market stuff. That's WLS.
Brand new music on AM 98 and FM 101 in stereo. The title of which I've forgotten, so let me go over here and look at it. Oh,
there he goes again.
Shattered Glass. It's 26 minutes after 7. Kevin, you're going to go, of course, into your new career in television. Did you know that Mitch has a new career?
What is that?
Listen to this.
Introducing now the starting lineup.
for the Parker All-Star.
Doesn't he sound professional?
I have made a habit of embarrassing the people I work with.
You're a dangerous man with a tape recorder, you know that?
Oh, that's really good.
Is that about it? Or are we going to continue this?
Well, he's so professional, I can't get enough of it.
Is he doing the lineup for Havasu or Parker?
That was Parker last night.
But I gave my co-hosts, plenty of airtime here. Didn't monopolize everything.
They do at 8 o'clock at Sarah Park, taking on Bullhead City, and if Havasu All-Stars win, they're off to the state tournament. I believe that'll be played in...
I don't know that would be a major market. I worked with a guy in Raleigh who was a big radio guy in Raleigh for a long time. He left the radio stations and was working at a audio production company I was freelancing at, and he listened to that and he said, "Yeah, you could have been a typical $30,000 a year disc jockey at just about any radio station."
Oh, get out! Full of himself. You would have been better than that. It's seriously, man.
Is an Arizona quick pick lottery ticket. We gave away all the True Value hardware tickets to the.
So now you're jealous of how good I got, aren't you?
Yeah, seriously, I was never that good.
You have to have some plans for that if you'd have won that.
And we gave away the $10 bill. So we have the T-shirt, we have the quick pick lottery ticket.
The giveaways were so lame at that radio station that I took $10 from my own wallet and did the guess the serial number game.
Of course, we'll give you a bumper sticker when you come in. Anybody can have
that was your own money.
Put it on your car. We call out your license plate number. I guess
the boss was. I embarrassed the boss. I was just leading to getting fired. I kept embarrassing the boss.
You were working at it.
We're giving away
Lee
2 helicopter rides.
Schoblum,
yeah.
Going on a week from today, next Friday, with the Channel 3 Arizona USA deal.
Oh, so Lee was the started the station. He created it. So the KFWJ, he worked at a different radio station, and his on-air name was Walt Johnson, and so KFWJ was cash from Walt Johnson.
Looking for bumper stickers, call out
what paid for starting the radio station. But also there was a radio station in Los Angeles on the same frequency, KFWB. And so before we came on the air at 6 o'clock in the morning, KFWB came romping in.
You could hear them?
Yeah, and similar format, so he wanted people to stay tuned in.
I have got a stumper. I know I've got a stumper today, folks. I challenge you to come up with the answer to this one.
Come on, everybody.
Okay, because I want that pick ticket, and I want it bad.
Don't let him have it. Hey, Lake Havasu, come on, let's rally, come on.
Speaking of rally, this is a baseball question. And the question
this was our big bit on the
who did Babe Ruth hit his
on the morning zoo show
home run off of? What pitcher did Babe Ruth hit his record 60th home run off of? Is he retired? Is he retired, he asks. He played in 1927. That's chances are, yeah, he is retired. I won't tell you the team, but I will say it was in 1927.
I think for a market of 25,000 people or so, all of us were way above that market level in terms of broadcast professionalism.
It's time
I think you were good. I mean, for a town of, 25,000?
Yeah.
Brought to you by Lakeside Tire and Auto Center, 1891 Industrial Boulevard.
Thank you very much, Gary. If the summer weather we've been having so far this year is too boring for you, we'll take a look at the Lake Havasu weather forecast coming up right after this.
Michelin Sport in you.
Time for the weather forecast, and we have a special.
This is a recorded
studio this morning,
bit
ladies and gentlemen. Lieutenant Colonel Oliver
from
North.
A service that sent us.
Are you ready with your
their side of it, and I recorded our side of it.
Senator. Then please proceed.
All right, today's weather will be sunny, warm, and beautiful with low humidity. Perfect day for tennis, golf, and
I was doing my part into it live.
Colonel North.
Yes, Senator.
Well, first of all, it's going to be a monsoon. The humidity is going to be rising. You didn't say anything about that, did he, Kevin?
No, he certainly didn't.
I'm aware of that report, Senator.
Yes, but then your forecast is a complete lie.
That's correct, sir. Let me remind you and the committee that a covert forecast is, by its very nature, deceitful.
Remember Oliver North?
I see. So your prediction for the weekend, then, is...
earthquakes, monsoon, and 18 inches of snow.
Thank you, Colonel North.
Just doing my job, Senator.
Well, he finally got that monsoon in there, Kevin. Maybe we better go to the real...
This is a 10-minute audition tape It sounds like it's an hour long to me now.
Problem there. Okay, yes.
The non-covert forecast.
Right. Let's go to the real one here. Your Lake Havasu weather forecast, as opposed to mine.
Dad joke.
Calls for mostly sunny, hot and more humid today. It'll be breezy.
Don't stick this thing on me.
Increasing clouds this afternoon, a high of 110. Partly cloudy, warm, breezy.
We had a rule set down by the management, by Lee,
with isolated thunderstorms
that if it was going to be below 110 degrees, it was only warm. We couldn't use the word hot until it was 110 or above.
Your
I guess it's all relative.
Real broadcast microphone can be activated at this time. Please speak into the microphone.
Is that better?
Almost.
There we go. There we
go.
go.
The intercom a little.
We got a stumper. I knew it would stump Lake Havasu City this
Charlie
morning.
Root.
This was a tough one.
Wait a minute. There's one more guy calling.
Right?
Let me check this
Let
out.
me take that one.
Is that the
You
answer?
want to take that one?
Yeah.
Take it.
No, they're gone.
No?
Okay, the quick pick ticket's going to be ours, or
well, we're going to, of course, draw the name.
Okay.
Let's get to the question again real quick, though, for everyone who said, huh? What was that? Who did Babe Ruth hit his record 60th home run off of in 1927? We were looking for Washington Senators pitcher Tom Zachary.
Of course.
Tom Zachary would have been the right answer that nobody came up with. Let's go to the Breakfast Flakes box.
Well, I have drawn a name out of the Breakfast Flakes box, okay, and it says Alan Bell. Alan Bell.
Okay.
Attention, Alan Bell. You have won a T-shirt. KTVK, Arizona USA Today. That's a newspaper, isn't it? Arizona USA T-shirt, and you can get a bumper sticker. Anybody can get a bumper sticker, but you get one specifically, Alan. And now, are we giving him the quick pick ticket?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's give Alan the quick pick ticket.
You realize,
unless you don't contact Alan, in which case,
well, no,
it would be unclaimed.
Well, no, he'll still get it.
He'll get it no matter. No matter what he gets.
Now you do realize, Alan, the conditions under which you accept this ticket.
This is all ad lib.
The ticket is only good until tomorrow, though. So if he doesn't get it by then, it's
it's. If it wins tomorrow, he gets the ticket on Monday, and he's a big winner.
Well, that's true, too. Darn it.
Unless Mitch comes in over the weekend and swipes it. He's
God, you guys were
trying
great.
hard for this.
I didn't listen.
It was Kevin's idea for the Breakfast Flakes box. You
But
can
there was
blame
no
Kevin if
streaming
you didn't
back
get this
then,
ticket,
so
no matter how hard you tried.
I can blame Kevin for anything.
But his conditions are that, of course, if he wins the big prize, he has to share it with the three of us.
That's right, of course.
And, of course, since I'm the chief flake in charge, I get the bigger cut.
Now, wait a minute. Kevin,
I came up with the box. I get the biggest cut.
I had the question that
Call ourselves the
allowed
Breakfast
it to be
Flakes.
given to him, which if he doesn't claim, we would keep, so I get the biggest cut.
That's all, folks. It's time now for something you should know.
That was really good. God, we've gone like 2 hours or something, so we'll do my radio history next time.
We'll still have to do yours. Well, we don't have time for your whole history. Yes, somehow I used up everything.
Well, let me play this.
I did not intend to take up all the time.
This is the best I can do here. I'm technologically challenged. Squeaky voice thing.
News and information time is 7:30.
That sounds professional.
And the 7:30 Associated Press Radio News is brought to you.
That's what you sound like today.
Brothers on New 13 West in Marion, your Pontiac, Buick, Oldsmobile, and Mercedes-Benz dealer. And with the news from Washington, Tom Martin.
Pan Am confirmed.
Okay, so
That's what you still sound just like that.
That was 1980.
Yeah, you haven't changed. For some reason, my voice somewhere between 1986 and now even got a little lower.
So then I'll play this. So anyway, okay, so my first radio on the air was, again, a campus station that wasn't actually on the air, WCCB, Chicago Circle Broadcasters. That was in 1973.
Or as people referred to the college, Chicago Circus.
Yeah. And so I did that, and then I was a business major, business administration major. I was not allowed to go into radio and television by Dad because you guys were in it.
Didn't think there'd be a future in that.
And I wanted to because my big brothers were in it, and because I thought it would be a good way to get girls because, disc jockey.
You saw how successful I was.
Anyway, where was I? Oh, yeah. So anyway, I took a communications class with a guy named Harry Scornia, and one of our assignments was to listen to WBEZ and listen to All Things Considered from NPR. Bob Edwards was hosting then. This would fast forward to 70, 5 or so. Anyway, so I listened to that, and I was like, screw Dad. And I looked at radio TV schools and ones that I could afford because he wasn't going to pay for it if I did this.
Whoa.
So I chose SIU. And you have to understand that even before I went to University of Illinois Chicago Circle, I'd been accepted at University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign into the aerospace engineering program with plans upon being an aerospace engineer. But I had a girlfriend at the time in high school, and she had another year to go, I think, in high school, and I didn't want to leave. So I was working at the gas station and caddying.
Was her name Sydney?
Yeah, it was.
And where did I pull that out of this brain?
No, that was really good, Sid. And so, and we're still in touch once in a while. So she lives in Hermosa Beach.
Hi, Sid.
So
I think I met you maybe once or twice.
Maybe. And so I didn't want to go, and so I didn't. So I went to U of I Chicago. Dad got me in. We had dinner in the 95th in the Hancock building, and because he told me I couldn't not go to college. So, and it was getting very late. The semesters were all starting, and so we had dinner with somebody, can't remember who, in the 95th. And the next day I was a business major at U of I Chicago. Dad had a little pull. He was kind of important.
That probably helped you in your most recent job you just retired from.
What?
CEO of a radio station.
Oh, yeah.
Business and radio.
Yeah. So anyway, it actually did. I did a year and a half of that, and then went to Europe for a while. And then I had applied at SIU and was accepted for the next fall. So right around Christmas time, I went to Europe for a while, I think a month and a half or something. Anyway, backpacked around, Eurail passed, went up and down the train circuit, went to Germany, went to France, went to Italy. I don't remember where else. Anyway, so it was a lot of fun. And then I came back and worked real hard at the gas station and caddying when summer came, with Bill Murray, and then I saved up all the money I needed.
A little name dropping, just a little.
I had saved up all the money I needed to go to college. So I went to SIU. I think my entire tuition, fees, everything at SIU was like $2,000 for 4 years.
State school.
It was really cheap back then. It's not now. But so anyway.
It's still probably relatively cheap. Compared to private schools.
I just finished paying off Dale's student loan for part of his college career. So,
woo,
part of it. So, yeah, well, he went through and got a master's. I never did. I got a bachelor's. So, anyway, I went to there and got to work here.
Dale got a master's?
Yeah, history.
Is he going for a PhD?
No.
Does he work at the history store downtown on Main Street?
He was the anthropology student of the year 2 years running. So anyway, I was here and worked there. And then I got a job at a commercial station there, WJPF. And
which is your initials, almost.
Yeah, Jay Pierce fans. We're Jay Pierce fans. I have no paraphernalia from that station. I may have a piece of stationery. But anyway, it became, then it became WHPI Radio Whoopee. Whatever.
Country, I imagine.
And I left for W3D radio and AM 810 FM. So anyway, I did that.
I think that might still be your favorite radio station to have worked at.
It was a good radio station. No, there's WEBX had to be, or WHP. So I went to anyway, I did that, and then I went to Cape Girardeau and did mornings at KGMO, where Rush Limbaugh had worked, and then I came back up and I worked at, variously WCIL AM in the afternoons, and then I went to Texas and worked at KTER in Terrell, and I have some audio of that somewhere, but I can't
nadir of your career.
Yeah, 6 months.
They didn't pay you, right?
Oh yeah, I made $100 a week.
And you slept in the back of the radio station?
No. I had an apartment, but I didn't have. I rented half of a house It was like split down the middle, and I had living room / bedroom, dining room / bedroom or whatever, kitchen and bathroom in that order. But I didn't have any hot water or gas. I didn't have any gas because I couldn't afford it. Didn't have a phone. I was driving a 1949 Willys Overland station wagon. This was bad.
It's not quite suburban Dallas. It's a small town east of Dallas.
But I graduated with no student loan debt, and I had a really good time in college. So I had almost no money. I packed everything. I had an International Scout pickup truck, packed everything I could into it, and just drove out to see Dad in Salt Lake City, and then went out to California, drove down the coast, came back, ended up in Texas, and I went to the radio station, and because our brother and a friend were buying it. That's why I was going to work there.
Right.
And there weren't cell phones then, so it was hard to be in touch with people. So I went to the radio station when I was supposed to be there in January of 1979, and I said, "Is Andy Pierce around?" There was one guy in there. The place had no windows. I went in, and he goes, "Who?" I said, "Andy Pierce." He goes, "Oh, I never heard of him." And I said, "Is there another radio station in town?" "No."
Now, Andy was there. He was.
No, he wasn't there yet.
Well, he hadn't showed up yet. No, his friend, his name was Dale.
Dick.
Oh,
Dick Zimmer.
Yeah, okay, Dick. Yeah, Dick Zimmer. Yeah,
we worked at the gas station with him. We all worked at the gas station.
Now, had he bought the station at that point?
It was in the process.
Okay, so you were a little premature.
Yeah, but they were supposed to have it. There was a delay, and so
so you're out of touch. You've been on this trip. And again,
so I asked the guy,
no cell phones.
and I had no money. I'd spent all my money. I had like nothing. And so I asked the guy, "Can I use the phone?" And I called Andy's number in Chicago, and he answers, and I go, "Where the hell are you?" "Oh, there's been a delay. I couldn't get in touch with you." And I go, "No, I've been on the road. I've been having a good time." So anyway, long and short of it, he goes, "Well, just go get a room at a hotel, and I'll be down in a couple of days." So I got a room at the Holiday Inn, thanks to a Diners Club card that Dad forgot he'd given me at one point. and so Andy comes down. He gets an apartment, and so I moved in with him. I went to work in the meantime. I talked to the owner of the radio station, because there were only two people working at the radio station. The owner lived 100 miles away, and he was in town once. And so I went over there, and I explained who I was. And he goes, "Yeah, well, I need someone to kind of run the place because I'm kind of not here anymore." And
got yourself a job.
And the other employee was leaving, retiring. And so, so for $100 a week cash, it was me and Gus. And I did mornings, and he did afternoons. And that was it. And
so when Andy and Dick showed up,
Andy and Dick showed up 6 months later.
6 months
There's a
later.
lot.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't think I knew any of that detail.
Oh, yeah. It was in June before they came. So there was a lot of fun stuff to talk about this station. We don't have time right now. I'm just going to go through my chronology, and we can go in depth later. But so anyway, I
apologize for using up all the time.
That's okay. I was so tired of being there and living there and being broke. I could afford to eat one Whataburger a day. This was just awful. It was awful. It was the low point of my life.
What was the format of the station?
Country.
Yeah, it was shit-kicking country, right?
Yeah, so Dick comes down, and he decides that noon they would play classical music for an hour, and he would host that, and this and that. And he hired some people from a broadcast school. Anyway,
out of touch radio station ownership.
He put in some really nice equipment, though, Sennheiser mics and Scully tape decks. And I'm like, so anyway, well, he did go belly up on it not too long after, but maybe a year or two, I don't know. But anyway, so I had gotten a call from W3D, and they were putting WDDW, an AM station, on the air, and asked if I'd come back and do that. This was on a Sunday morning, the guy called. And I said, "When do you need me there?" And he goes, "Well, as soon as you can get here, we're going on the air July 1st. And It was probably in the middle of June, and they wanted a show produced for their sign-on and stuff, and I said, I'll be there tomorrow. So I packed everything up, and
takes about a day to drive from Dallas up there.
Yeah, so I made it as far as Texarkana, and
your Willys broke down.
The fuel pump fell off. No, the Willys, I had gotten a Scout pickup truck too. And I drove the Willys when the Scout pickup truck caught fire. So the Willys wasn't going to make it back. So I fixed the Scout pickup truck.
But when I lived in Lake Havasu City, Lake Havasu City was 40 miles from the next town in the Arizona low desert. And there were people who lived there that could not leave because they drove in on a car that barely made it, and the car broke down. They couldn't afford to fix it. And so they were stuck in town.
Well, I fixed mine because I'd worked at the gas station, as I said, for a number of years. And I thought, maybe I'll be an auto mechanic if I won't be an aerospace engineer mechanic. Anyway, so I just, so.
You could have been a rocket scientist.
I could have been on Big Bang Theory. So anyway, I went and fixed that, and I was driving back, and the fuel pump fell off in Texarkana, near Texarkana on the interstate. So I got picked up.
Stopped working, fell off.
No, well, I think the top fell off of it or something, as it turned out. So and it was like Sunday night, Sunday afternoon, whatever. I was going to drive through the night. So I hitchhiked, got picked up by a trucker. He gave me a beer. I got off at the exit because he was going to keep going. And I was walking up the exit ramp drinking the beer in would it be Texas or Arkansas there? Texarkana.
I think that's on the border. I think that's why they call it Texarkana, but I'll look it up.
Yeah, so a state trooper stopped me, and I was in a lot of trouble because I was drinking a beer in public, and I didn't live anywhere at that time. So he took me to the station, which was a long way away from the interstate. And I said, well, how am I going to get my truck fixed? This and that and this and that. And so I slept at the police station. He did put me in a cell, but I was being held on suspicion of vagrancy or some damn thing. I don't know what it was. So anyway, I slept at the police station. And in the morning, the dispatcher who came on duty took pity on me and called a local gas station, a guy he knew, and they went out and they got my truck and fixed it. And again, I had this Diners Club card, so I put it all on Dad's Diners Club card. And I got the truck fixed, and off I went back to Illinois to do that.
Checking Texarkana. It is literally bisected by the Texas-Arkansas state line.
Yeah, I don't know which one I was in. So probably Texas.
Although it looks like I'm seeing the border, and the border they've got here is all on the Texas side. So on the other side is still Texarkana. Oh, there's a Texarkana, Texas, and a Texarkana, Arkansas. Apparently,
it's kind of like Kansas City.
That's just what I was thinking. Yeah.
So anyway, so I got back to Illinois, and I put together a little show. I have it somewhere about the history of radio in Southern Illinois.
How did you get out of jail?
I never was really in jail. He was just the dispatcher who came out in the morning took pity on me and said, "We're not really charged with anything." So, and he helped me get my truck fixed. And then I said, "Well, thanks to the deputy who brought me in, I'm like 10 miles from where my truck is." And so he said, well, my breakfast break or whatever, I don't remember when he'd come on duty. He gave me a ride and I got my truck. And so anyway, I got back to Illinois and I left the Willys down there, which I had bought for I want to say $75 as a joke when I was in school, senior year. My friend Frank and I bought it because we were going from Carbondale to Murfreesboro to get a keg of beer for a party. And we saw this thing sitting out in front of a gas station and thought, how fun would it be to fill the back end of that with ice and put the keg in it and back into the party in the backyard. So we bought it for, I think like $75 or something. I don't know. We split it. We had that much money with us. So anyway, then it broke down in town, and it sat behind Blyer's Sports Shop in Carbondale for the longest time. Nobody towed it. Nobody did anything with it. And I finally went over and had time to fix it and got the wiring fixed. And then I left it at my girlfriend's house, and I moved down to Texas, and I came back because the truck had been on fire, and Andy and I came back, and we were going to drive it down, but it didn't seem like it was a good idea to drive it on the interstate. So we got a tow bar hitch, and we hitched it up, and we started going, and it pulled the front bumper off, and it went off the road into somewhere. Anyway, so then Andy decided he would drive it down. So he followed me, and he drove that damn thing down there.
Got it all the way there.
It got there, and then it was good that I had it because I needed it. And then I left it there when I came back to Illinois, and Andy sold it. It was sitting in his front yard, and somebody wanted to buy the engine out of it or something. The engine ran good. So he got like $500 for it. So that was like a lot. So I let him have half, and I took half, and I never gave any money to the friend I bought it with. So where was I going? Oh, so I moved back to Illinois, and I worked there, and I put that station on the air, the AM, and I worked at the FM. I was operations manager of the FM country station. The AM was a easy listening music station. I did the mornings on it. Variously, anyway, so I worked at W3D, and then I left there, and I went to WCIL and became assistant news director, morning drive news guy. And then the job opened at SIU, at WSIU. And wait, I got to do these things. I don't have any CIL stuff. I have it somewhere. So then I did that. And I went to the Illinois Radio Network after that in Chicago. That was my big break in Chicago. So I worked at the Illinois Radio Network. We had 55 stations around the state of Illinois that
moonshine.
Yeah, news and sports for. And so I did that for a while. And WMAQ radio was at the time the second all news station to
WBBM.
And
still
so,
is.
And WMAQ became WSCR. It's a sports station now. WSCR started as a daytimer on 820, then it moved to 1160 full-time, and then it moved to the better frequency of 670. So the score.
50,000 watt clear channel. That's much better.
Yeah, it is. And so CBS owned it then, and then Odyssey. I think CBS owned it when it was all news for a while. And it was a really good news station. Actually, it was. It was just they also ran the BBM, which was hard. So they used us at Illinois Radio Network as some of their like reporting in Chicago and stuff and state news. And they were our affiliate. And so I was on there with reports, in the morning and stuff. I would file reports before I left. And we did a special feed just for them where it was like, Jay Pierce, all news 67 WMAQ. And and Pat Cassidy, who just retired from PBM recently, was the morning newscaster. And it was really cool to hear him introducing my pieces in the morning. Sometimes I was the lead piece. When they did a double execution out at Joliet Stateville Prison, I did their updates every half hour all throughout the night live from
Joliet Jake and Elwood Blues came from.
Yeah. And so anyway, then after that, I went down and we built WEBX radio.
So that was it for your big career in Chicago.
Yeah.
Big time radio.
9-10 months, something like that. So then it became WEBX radio. I think I got something here. I think there's something here.
When I tried looking stuff up, I kept getting Cisco's WebEx.
What?
Wrapping up another extra long set of good music on the Web 93.5 with Johnny Cash covering Soundgarden's Rusty Cage. Brendan Benson was in there with Sittin' Pretty. Or the title track from Abra Moore's new album, Strangest Places, the former Poydog Ponderer, working out of Austin now. And by the way, that album is due out before the end of the month. And we started the hour with David Groh, Walk on the Water, from his album Well.
My editing.
Well, it is Jay Pierce till midnight. And I got some Ani DeFranco coming up from Steve Earle covering the Beatles. And the Screaming Cheetah Wheelies have reissued the Magnolia album. We'll hear a cut from it next.
Hi, this is Quentin Porter.
Hey, this is Ani DeFranco.
Don't call her Annie because she'll kick you right in the head.
It's Mr. Franco de Yo.
She's got a brand new album out called Living in Clip.
I can just keep spewing out albums.
It's a double live album.
I'm keeping busy.
But it's not available until April 22nd. Guess what, folks? You can get it here before you can get it in the store.
I cannot stand my and I really don't want to look for me.
Listen to Wait and Bake with Quentin Porter Monday morning for your chance to win one of several copies of Ani DeFranco's new double CD, Living in a Clip. Win it before you can buy it, and you too will be saying,
I'm one of the lucky schmucks.
it's only from your friends at
The Web 93.5. Figure it out.
when you buy a new or used car.
Okay, so anyway.
Whoa. When you buy a New Year's car. But wait,
I
there's
know,
more.
So I was doing stuff. Yeah, I was like the only person doing stuff. So I was on all the commercials, and I was the production guy too. So anyway,
Yeah, you sound like a 1970s underground FM disc jockey.
Yeah, so that was an old guy trying to
stacking up the record outros and.
So that was exactly, back selling, and so that that Ani DeFranco thing was my editing skills. That was from an interview we did with her. Those pieces were taken out of it. Quentin Porter was our morning guy. He did a show called Wake and Bake, and he put
for those
together
of you that wake up stoned.
Yeah, and I think Wake and Bake started at 10. Our morning drive show started at 10. So he
because you've all stayed up
put together
drunk the night before, and that's as early as you can get up.
Yeah, and I took the so he read the script for the promo, and I took the sound bites of her out of an interview that we did, and I don't know, she did the web thing as a promo, but so anyway, I edited them together with her music and stuff. That's how that all came together.
Razor Blade?
Like oh no, that would have been software audio.
Oh, you had that's right. You were on the web. You had modern technology going for you at the time.
It was all digital in 1995. There was no tape. And so, and the other announcers were all like, "We need cart machines." I go, "No."
Oh, you did. I loved cart machines.
So I did that, and then the guy sold it. I think I talked about this in the last episode. So he sold the place. We're all out of work. I actually got fired before he sold it. Anyway, got my company car taken away.
What did you do bad?
By one of my best friends. Margie fired me. I don't know. I think I was an asshole.
Yeah, because you clearly come across like that here.
Yeah. So, anyway, and I'm not proud of this, but after that happened, I went to the gas station and called up on the payphone, the transmitter, and turned it off the air because I was the only one with a code that knew how to do that.
The best I did was when I got fired, I took out some personal ads in the newspaper, thanking everybody I worked with, except for Lee, who I said something nasty about. The newspaper wouldn't let me print what I first said, and so they helped me tame the language a little bit. What that caused him to do was take all of the commercials and liners and carts that my voice had remained on,
erase them and recut them,
and recut them because he could not have my voice on the station anymore.
Yeah. Well, so after I got done with WEBX, I went to I needed a job, so I became the booth announcer at Channel 3 part of the time. And then there was this little radio station out in Farmer City, Illinois, about 20 miles from Champaign, that my friend Cody, who ran Periscope Records, had told me about, and I listened to it, but it wasn't on the air all the time. And so I went out there, and it played Americana music and cool stuff. So I went out there and I found it. And there's this guy named Larry Williams who just passed away recently. And that's very sad. So I went out there and I found the radio station, and I knocked on the door and there was no answer. So I opened the door and he was asleep on a couch. So I tapped him on the foot and he woke up and I said, Cody told me about this station, but I noticed you're not on the air all the time and stuff. And I'm kind of between jobs, so I got some time to, do whatever. And he goes like, well, I can't pay you anything. And I was like, that's okay. Don't worry about it. I just want to help out because I like the station.
What was their format?
It was Americana, blues, roots music. It was a really cool station. It's still around. If you Google or something, backlandradio.com, I think is the website. It's an online station now. He sold the actual on-air station after a couple of decades. And so the WHIP, WWHP. And so anyway, I told him, let me go look at your transmitter. And so I went out and fixed the transmitter to keep him on the air the whole time. And I fixed it after I chased the flies out of the transmitter building. So I fixed it. And then I came back and said, can I do some other stuff? And then he goes, well, I can't pay you. I said, well, what if I just went and sold some ads and got some ads on the air and stuff? And you just gave me like 20% of that or whatever. So I started doing that. And I fixed some equipment around the building and built some CD racks and this and that. Yeah, that's it. And so it's a great station still.
The WHIP.
Lori Allen runs it now, his partner in crime.
I tried pushing the listen live and nothing comes up.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, it should be there somewhere. They should be on. I don't know. He died a couple of weeks ago, and it was very sad. And we'll have a celebration of life coming up, I think in April. Anyway, he had cancer and various things, but he was a survivor, man. He'd done stuff in radio. He'd been in Vietnam. He'd been shot, all kinds of stuff. He was a great guy with a lot of great stories and a lot of great radio history in Illinois. A bricklayer by trade too, just a wonderful guy. And so, so he and I basically were running the station, putting the format, together, getting the equipment together, making stuff work. I was out selling some ads. He finally hired me to do the morning show so he could spend more time being the manager of the station. So he was paying me a little bit, and he called me Mr. Green Jeans because I could fix all this stuff. And so I was the chief ranch hand at the Sunrise Ranch. That was my morning show. And so I loved working at that radio. I loved all the stations I worked at. They all had their own character. So the WHIP was great. I don't know why it's not playing. Anyway, so I did that. And then I needed really, because I had a wife and a kid and expenses. So the job at the University of Illinois at WILL opened up for a news reporter. Entry-level news reporter. I'd been in the business 20 years at the time. I'd been a news director. So I applied for it, right? Because I needed, a paycheck, benefits, the whole 9 yards. I didn't get it. I couldn't get hired. Oh, you found him.
Got him to play. Willie Dixon.
Best radio station going. Yeah. So anyway, I went to work at WILL. I couldn't get hired to be for the news job. So I knew the news director, and he called me and he goes, well, I'll tell you why. And there was another person on staff that didn't want me because he wanted to be the big cheese, and I was too experienced. And so they used the excuse that, well, you wouldn't want the job, you wouldn't stay because it didn't pay much, and I'm like, yeah, well, you know what? Never underestimate the loyalty you'll get out of somebody who's basically out of work.
Desperate.
And so he goes, well, that's not the job you want anyway. He goes, the news director, I'm leaving.
This is not your beautiful job.
He said the news director job will be open. And I said, well, what about, should I apply for that? He goes, no, the program director is leaving. That's the job you should apply for. So I applied for program director, which would be the boss of the guy who got me not hired the first time. And I got it. And I was there for 15 years. I rose to the rank of station manager and stuff. And then the unfortunate situation happened where I had to leave. And then I went to WVIK. And
that is a college station, private college.
Augustana College, one of the best liberal arts colleges in the country.
Rock Island, Illinois.
Rock Island,
Quad
Illinois.
Cities, shores of the Mississippi.
Interestingly enough, on a bluff over the Mississippi, it started in Paxton, Illinois, right up the road from here in Champaign. But anyway, so WVIK, and I was there.
VIK for the Vikings, which is
Vikings.
Yeah. The team. Football team, basketball team.
Yep.
Softball team.
Yeah, all of the above. Water polo, everything.
Everybody's the Vikings.
It's about 2,500 students, I think. But I got to tell you, it was really cool working at a place that never would have let me in as a student. And the students we worked with were so great and so smart. I mean, it was unreal being in that setting. It was totally unreal. And it was a great opportunity. We built the station up. Now it's 2 stations and had a lot of fun, met a lot of great people, love the Quad Cities.
You made that transition from NPR in the morning, classic music all day, to all talk.
Yeah, then we put on an all classical station too. So,
but to mollify the people who are angry at you for going all talk.
Yeah, whatever. But they should have a classical station. I mean, the town is big enough. The metropolitan area is 350,000 people. They should have a classical station. And they sort of did. Iowa Public Radio overlaps a little bit. But
it's just the other side of the river. The river doesn't absorb the radio frequencies.
Yeah. In fact, the Iowa Public Radio News, their news channel, their transmitter is in Rock Island. So
it's in Illinois.
One of the things I always bugged NPR about is I go, so if you already had an NPR station there, why would you allow another NPR station to go on the air there? Anyway, long and short of it was we made the news talk station, and so now there are 2, and it became time to retire when my NPR board stint was up.
Well, you're 70.
No, I'll
you're
be
69
70 later this year.
Okay. Yeah.
And so it's time to retire.
2 days after Christmas, large expensive
years.
presents, gratefully accepted.
I did an essay one time about how I got screwed throughout life by getting that one present that was supposed to be, oh, you're going to get one big present. No, it was like getting 1.5 presents. So I was shorted by a half present all this time. So I figured Dad owed me thousands of dollars, but whatever. Never got that. So yeah, I was kind of cut off when I went to SIU, wasn't I? Yeah. I paid for my college down there, and except for that Diners Club card that I put stuff on. Then when it expired, that was it. I had no money from home. He gave me a car while I was in college.
I gave you a car.
You gave me a car too. That was his car.
You get lots of free cars. He used to get his, but I had to pay for it when I got it.
You had to pay for it?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
So I drove that car, and then
into the ground.
Dale drove that. My son drove that car, and then my daughter drove that car, and then it finally died.
You did a lot of work to resurrect it. All right.
I did.
So
we
I've,
did a lot
I've
of
got
work. So anyway,
I've
that's my
another
career.
meeting.
Now I'm the executive director of the Illinois Public Broadcasting Council, and I fill in on stuff.
And you are now a big-time podcaster.
WCBU.
With your podcast
WGLT.
occupying the same space as, for example, Crooked Media. Pod Save the World.
Sure.
You're on the same internet. I got a meeting coming up in 25 minutes. Believe it or not.
I don't know what that's like.
Yep. And we have something we need to accomplish between now and then.
Oh, okay,
Do you
good.
have your
Let's do
lyrics up?
I'll get them.
Did you print them
I'll
out?
find them. No, they're on my phone.
Okay. So this is going to be separated line by line. You get the lines that have the bolded word at the end, or the capital word at the end of each line. And those are words we both say together as if it's a rap. So we're going to do a rap. We need something on TikTok.
Nothing comes out bold on here.
It's not bold, just capital. So you got the I'm Jay, I'm Gary. Your line is, and we're white and old.
And then you do the capital.
No, we're white and on the word old, we both say it together. This is emulating somebody else's rap song.
So if it's capitalized, we say it
capitalized,
together. All caps.
Yeah. So and you
so
do those.
How do I know which line? Then we just alternate lines.
We should have rehearsed this. Yeah, we alternate lines. The first line is the only one where we each have a part.
Do you realize that we could just do this and you could edit it together and make it sound really good?
No, it's too much work.
Oh God.
So let's see.
Are you going to keep this going while we do it?
Yeah, this is live. We're doing this live.
Okay. I got to get
a minute. Is thumping my headphones.
Yo. I'm Jay.
Oh, it's going to be a lot faster than that.
I'm old.
I'll give you the speed.
You ready?
I'll give you the speed. Here's the speed. I'm Jay and I'm Gary and we're white and old.
Oh, we're never going to do that.
Like
That ain't
cotton
gonna
guest
happen.
bolt.
No, okay. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
I'm Jay.
I'm Gary.
You were slow. You ready?
It's right on. Well, there's a little latency in the internet.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
Well, that's going to screw the whole thing up then.
I got to start that over again, clearly. Anytime.
I'm Jay.
I'm Gary.
And we're white and old.
Oh, I forgot to come in to
say
old.
You wrote this.
Try again.
I'm Jay.
And I'm Gary.
And we're white and old.
Your line.
And we're rapping TikTok.
Oh, wait a minute. That was my line.
That was your line. You suck at this, man, and you wrote it.
I've never said it out loud.
You got to start the music again.
Oh, okay. Start the music again.
Never going to get this done. Yo. I'm Jay.
I'm Gary.
And we're white and old.
And we're rapping TikTok.
Because we podcast bold.
We talk for hours.
And our shows are long.
We don't give a damn
that you think that's wrong.
If you think we lack focus because we ramble and
stray.
I should have split that up. If you think we lack focus
because we ramble and stray
and we can't remember
what we're going to say.
Wait, what was the next line?
What we're going to say.
Oh yeah.
Oh wait, no, that was your line. I'm sorry.
It's just part of it. That's just part of our charm. That's just part of the charm. Wait.
Of an old guy show.
Let's start over again.
Let's just pick it up from there.
That's just part of the charm
of an old guy show.
And there's just one more thing
that we want you to know.
Understood our show. Wait, understood. Should be understand our show.
Ain't nothing like this.
This is just click. Oh, I forgot to say the this. I'm really screwing this up. Understand our show. Understand our show.
Ain't nothing like this.
This is just clickbait.
Or maybe bait and Swiss.
No, switch. Swiss.
Just go with it. We're on a roll.
So we need this viral.
Because we're not well known.
And we'll keep on rapping
to our microphone.
Phones should be plural because there's two of them.
But then it would be knowns.
Yeah, shut up.
No, you shut up.
This is all scripted. The Jay and Gary Show, everybody.
Only on YouTube
and podcasts
and Facebook. We should be on Facebook.
We're not on Facebook.
Apparently, we're on TikTok.
Should we do that one more time, or is that good enough?
I know why you got fired so much from radio.
I wrote that at like 3 a.m. Woke up.
I know it's not. I saw this morning when I got up, and I was like, God. I thought he quit drugs.
Did. AA, baby. 1988.
You went to every 12-step group there was.
Well, there weren't very many in that little town. Okay, do we need to do that one more time, or is that going to suffice?
Yeah, we should do it again, but let's do it again some other time, because you got a meeting.
Well, I got to get this on TikTok. We need a TikTok.
What if we just do the voice? Just forget the music for now.
You're right.
Just do the voice, and you can add the music later.
Yeah, because the music is not really going to matter.
Okay.
Okay, you're on.
I'm Jay.
And I'm Gary.
And we're white and old.
And we're rapping TikTok.
Because we podcast bold.
We talk for hours.
And our shows are long.
No, one more time. And go ahead.
And our shows are long.
And we don't give a damn.
That you think that's wrong.
If you think we lack focus.
We ramble and stray.
And we can't remember.
What we're going to say. Wait, what's the next line?
Yeah, okay. That's just part of the charm
of an old guy show.
And there's just one more thing
that we want you to know.
Understand our show.
Ain't nothing like this.
This is just clickbait.
Or maybe bait and Swiss.
It should be switch, but that wouldn't
just go with it.
That wouldn't rhyme.
Let's go with it. We're running out of time.
So we need this viral.
Because we're not well known.
And we'll keep on rapping.
To our microphone.
Because there's two. Will be plural.
But then it would have to be knowns.
Yeah, never mind. Shut up.
Oh no, you shut up.
It's the Gay and Jerry show.
I don't even know your name.
Meeting is going to be very interesting at 3:00. It's the it's the Jay and Gary show.
With an occasional attack of Joe Biden. Only on YouTube.
And podcasts.
And Facebook. We should be on Facebook.
We're not going to be on Facebook. Well, maybe we should. We're going to be on TikTok here. Anyway.
Yeah. Just this, not the show.
Okay. I got music for taking us out here. I think I have music for taking us out.
Okay.
We're done. It's the Jay and Gary show. Not quite live on YouTube and podcast. I'm Gary Pierce.
And I'm Jay Pierce.
Thank you for listening for nearly 3 hours of this show.
Oh my God. They're getting longer and longer.
As of the next show, we will be on the air continuously, never stopping.
Are we done? I got to eat breakfast.
Yeah. You know how we close the show? Do you like our theme music? Okay, Jay's mouth is full of banana.
You used to play the trumpet.
Tries to say the last word of the show. Ladies and gentlemen, we are over and
out.
Out. Over and out.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye. Need to push a button here so the mix will fade out right. Ta-da.
Nice. All right.
Once again, setting the bar high.
Yeah, 3 hours this time.
Almost. Continuously.
That's as long as a show. That's longer than your WMBD show would have been.
It is. And no commercials.
All right, man.
See you next week, perhaps, sometime.
I'll have some decorations up if my back's not broken. So.
Yeah, go do some yoga.
Where am I going to go do my stretches? I'm going to eat this banana first. All right.
Okay, I think I know what happens when I push the button that makes the zoom go away. I think I go into the neutral zone. So, see ya.
All right.
Bye.
Talk to you.
Bye. Oh, I just get a big question mark. I don't get that. Well, then never mind.